Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Welcome back, everybody, and Happy New Year to everyone. How's it going?
I was ready.
I know.
I was ready.
Yeah, I'm glad you were.
Although I'm still posting to my stories.
Well, that's fine. No one's gonna blame you for cross-dipping, so to speak.
I'm gonna blame me.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
But listen, I can't blame anybody else for being in the chat right now. Welcome to the live edition of this show, where we take the past books, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations of books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. Of course, a couple of interesting things took place this holiday season. Of course, ComicPOP reached 90,000 subscribers.
Yay.
We did Doomsday Clock on our New Year's episode of Back Issues, and also some movies came out that a lot of people saw. We're going to be talking about some of those movies, but before we jump into them, of course, I want to mention two things. First of all, this show and every show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you want to support us, you can use Super Chats to ask a question or comment, the proceeds of which will go into the infrastructure that allows ComicPOP to exist. ComicPOP is going to be going through some interesting changes and metamorphoses as the year progresses. We're going to be doing some shifts, some changes, some updates, and we're also going to have to deal with the fallout of the propagation and perpetuation of the virus that has been ruining the past year. It's not gone. The vaccine isn't available to probably anyone who's watching this show.
Maybe not. So we may have some healthcare workers.
There might be a couple of you, but that's it. And that, of course, does not apply to anyone who works here at ComicPOP. So we're going to be having to work around that as well. The other sponsor of today's episode that I want to mention is Insight Editions. If you don't know who that is, you probably do, and you don't even notice the label. Insight Editions makes a lot of neat pop culture merch. More specifically, the thing you probably know them, I know the thing that I know them best about is the books they make. This is the most recent thing that I think a lot of people are familiar with. It's The Anatomy of the Metahuman. It's like a DC book about how metahumans work in the DC universe. It's just a really fun, in-universe kind of scientific tome that is a little it's like you reached into a portal in the DC universe, pulled it out. Here's how the metahumans that live and breathe in the DC universe operate. It's a really neat little book, but there's a lot of books like this. Actually, featured behind me is the Spider-Man book. It's actually even bigger than this, and it kind of just runs down who Spider-Man is, and there's a lot of books like this. And of course, there's a neat. They did this really great in-depth Ghostbusters book. Yeah. That I am a huge fan of, that I don't have here at the studio. I keep that at home, close to my heart.
That's a home book.
That's a home book.
They also do a lot of recipe books. Yes, I have the Overwatch one, and I have the World of Warcraft one, and I love them both.
You also have the Eat the Universe Marvel book.
That's right.
From Justin Warner.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't think that one's at home, though. I think that one's here.
Is it? No, it's got to be there. Yeah, because we've used it. But yeah, if you want to help us out, or help them out, or help yourself out, you can save 35% by using the link not only in the chat right now, but also in the description of this video. Just click the link and then shop. You're good to go. But if you don't want to do that, or for whatever reason you don't like convenience, you could always use POP35 at checkout, and it'll save you 35% on most stuff in there. If you use the link, I think it'll X out, or at the very least you'll know there are a couple of exclusions that do apply.
Okay.
But not for a lot of the things we mentioned, particularly the things that are relevant to people watching the show.
Yeah, they do a really good job, honestly, with the books themselves. They look impressive.
Yes.
They are nice to have out there. They make people want to open them, pick them up, and check them out, even if they have no interest necessarily in the subject material.
Yes. So let's say the holidays coming back around, everyone's vaccinated, you got your family coming over, you want to impress them, maybe you want to get them on your side, you leave out one of these neat, tasty books on the coffee table, they open it up, maybe they get a little bit of a connection with you as a person, and accept some part of you that they didn't before. So maybe I'm speaking personally about this, but let's focus on the topic at hand.
Or you could make a couple of recipes out of one of the books.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, these are World of Warcraft cookies, as a matter of fact. Yeah. The orcs make them.
I made a goblin one time. It was good. And Reinhardt's chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was good.
So yeah, so we're gonna jump into some movies. We are obviously gonna talk about Wonder Woman 84. I think that we're gonna leave that for last because the biggest one. We're gonna go from order of least anticipated to most anticipated in terms of conversation. Before we do that, of course, let's talk about some super chats. We have Gar, who says friendly reminder to buy Challenge of the Super Sons. It drops every Monday and is only $1. Got to show with the numbers what we as the fans want. Actually, I subscribed to that series, so I got an email this morning from Comixology that was like, "Hey, Challenge of Super Sons came out. Here it is. You already bought it."
Oh, wow.
So I have already read it, and I've already enjoyed it.
I love that.
It's terrific. Brian Rollins, hope you enjoyed the holidays. I would have more if I didn't watch Wonder Woman 84 on Christmas Day. The Doomsday Clock back issues was amazing. Well, if you haven't already checked it out, ladies and gentlemen, you should. 3+ hours of back issues goodness. And so much more to come.
Absolutely. I'm trying so hard to quietly open this Rice Krispies treats.
Yes.
It's not going
Just do
well.
it. Just open it. Enjoy. Everyone loves Rice Krispies treats.
And
if you don't, it's because you're... Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Alex Cash, congrats on 90K. Thank you very much,
so
Alex.
much.
And thank you for supporting us for so long. Alex, of course, is from our Patreon. And, of course, is here in the chat. So we thank you, Alex, for double dipping for us. Chris Wimberly says, watched for years. Hope I watch for many more. We intend for that to occur, Chris. If you actually check our community tab, I did a little update, little like housekeeping, saying like, hey, checking in, letting you know we're going to be here for a lot longer than most YouTube channels, probably. So let's jump into them.
You might even want us here.
Oh, certainly. Well, there's a couple of those. So let's jump into the movies. The first one that we saw was Sonic the Hedgehog. We saw Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a movie that a lot of critical response before the movie even came out. Of course, this is one of those movies that was bullied by the audience into looking better. I have to tell you, like having seen the movie, all 98 minutes of it, the Sonic redesign saved that picture. Because the movie is every movie you've ever seen.
I'm going to put quotes around safe.
Well, in terms of, at least it wasn't disgusting to look at as well, right? Because the whole reason to see it is Sonic the Hedgehog. Of course, Sonic the Hedgehog is basically, he's a Ninja Turtle, you know, he's a Smurf, he's every character that is CG from the cartoon universe brought in to our world, you know.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm surprised, the only trope that they didn't do was having Sonic appear through the sewers into Times Square. That's the only trope that is not present in Sonic the Hedgehog. The whole movie is a famous bowl of shit you've seen 1,000 times before. There are characters who literally are there, I'm here to do this. There's a character who's just there to crap on our protagonist's marriage because there are not enough obstacles.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough that like Jim Carrey is Robotnik.
Yeah. No,
Here's
the thing.
It's very bad.
I didn't have like it. Look, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, so I wasn't going into.
I wasn't expecting it to be like Kenneth Branagh's next installment of Henry VIII.
Yeah. That said, I was a little disappointed, honestly, at even though it is a kids movie, at how little they paid attention to story and plot. Like even having a rock simple plot.
Yeah.
Things kind of just happen because they have to happen.
Yes.
Which was like, I was like, wow. I mean, like kids can follow along with something of a plot, a little like stronger than that. And every time I just feel really bad for James Marsden.
Oh my god.
I do and I don't. I mean, he's getting a check.
Dude, you know what? Like he at some point in his like late 20s, early 30s was like, I'm never gonna be the leading man. Yeah. Like I'm never gonna be the hero. I'm just gonna be the heavy. Or I'm just going to be, like, some pretty boy occupying a role. Like, I'm going to be Cyclops, second fiddle to Wolverine. I'm going to be, you know, cucked by Superman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to, like, I'll be the doofus in the Enchanted movie. Like, he's every pretty guy. He does a job, but he's a workhorse.
No, he is, and
he just shows up and does it. And he's like 46 or whatever. And he's like, I'm the protagonist. Like, okie dokie, I'm gonna go on a zany road trip with this cartoon character.
He has a couple of moments, but those moments are actually with human beings. Where like I'm like, oh man, he still's got the chops. Like he can still do it. Like he's a pretty like interesting scene between him and Jim Carrey, and I was like, this must be cool for him,
right?
You know what I mean? Like not everybody gets to work with Jim Carrey.
No, and Jim Carrey's like weird now, so it's like he's very selective. Unless he's not.
Yeah,
like he's being Robotnik.
No, it's true. You know, they're playing with the idea of like Sonic lore and like I'm not
only a little bit.
I'm not a big Sonic lore fan. Like I'm aware of the cartoon shows. Both of them. And
there's multiple. There are 3 or 4 of them.
Right. Well, both of the originals.
The first 2.
Yeah. But like they're playing with things and they're trying to craft their own universe and like they're clearly trying to set things up for something in the past.
Yeah.
It just for me, I was just like, you guys are relying more on the fact that it is Sonic the Hedgehog, the character, less about the story that you're telling.
Right. Well, it's just like clearly the studio, it wasn't like they were interested in the rich tapestry that is the Sonic universe.
Right.
They were just like, we have the Sonic license, we have this script that calls for a road trip between, like, character must get MacGuffin.
Yeah.
They go on, like, I thought there were going to be, like, a couple of things, but it's just the roadside bar. That's the whole diversion until we get back to the plot.
Yeah.
I love that scene because it's so crappy where, like, they go to their hotel, and then conveniently across the street is this, like, zany roadside bar that, like, everyone would have noticed.
No, they're at a gas station convenience store because he buys snacks there.
That's right. That's the convenience store. Then they go to the hotel.
Yeah.
But even still, like, there's a lot of chaos happening on a different set over there that's supposed to be like 8 feet away from them, and then they only notice it when they need to notice it.
But that schlock, like, I like.
And that's fine.
Like, that's actually like funny to me. That like it's like this like. You know, Sonic looks over and like there's something more and more ridiculous that would just not even be there. And I'm like, that's
that would
funny.
never
and
occur.
If that was the tone of the humor throughout, I think I would have been way more on board for this. Because here's the thing. I understand, again, this is a kid's movie, and like I can just enjoy a kid's movie for sure, but like this just didn't hit tonally, emotionally at all. Like I was just like, and it's over, cool.
Yeah. At the very least, you know what I do appreciate about this? Because there's a lot of like, for me, you know, part of the reason why I probably don't have kids is because I would destroy and warp them. You know, because when I grew up, like, my kids' movies were movies that were made technically for children, but they were really made for, like, special effects artists who just, like, said they were making a kids' movie.
Sure.
You're like, is Labyrinth for children? I doubt it. Is The Last Unicorn for children? No way. But, like, it looks like a children's movie, and that's all my parents cared about. They were like, a cartoon, watch it. Puppets, watch it. Return to Oz, check it out. It's like, this is really scarring.
I think that worked out in your favor.
It did. It made me very interesting.
You grew up. I grew up like sanitary, where it's like we don't watch things like that because you'll have nightmares.
Yeah, but then you sought nightmares. You're like, I don't have enough nightmares in my life.
I'm going to Silent Hill.
Right. Exactly.
So.
Yeah, but I don't appreciate like crap made for kids today because like everyone goes like, oh, what about Gravity Falls and Avatar: The Last Airbender? It's like, yo, those are 2 examples. And for every 2 examples, you have 100 Paw Patrols.
Yeah, but you could also say, like, a Steven Universe.
Yeah. Yeah, but isn't that for children, or is that just for Joel? And so, like, for those, it's like, you could have a lot of crap, and, like, this is utterly harmless. There is nothing wrong with this movie in terms of it being a diversion for children.
No, it has a beginning, middle, and end. It's just, a lot of things happen because they have to happen.
Because they have to, yeah.
But there were actually some moments that like kind of made us laugh.
Yes, we actually laughed like twice.
Most of the time it was like a delivery
that
was not for children.
No.
You know?
But even then it wasn't like it was like a dick joke. It was just a flat like human reaction that I enjoyed. Yeah,
it was reactions from either Marsden or Jim Carrey. Like Jim Carrey has a line about a latte or like
solid stuff.
That's solid because like, you know, he gets this like ridiculous latte order that like he's like, I thought you might want one.
Yeah.
And like he's angry.
So
he's
angry and abusive.
And he just yells at him and he's just like, you know, I love the way you make them. And I was like,
I love the way you make them.
That's really funny.
Yeah,
like, that's the Jim Carrey that I miss.
Right. Well, and you'll never see again.
No.
Well, unless they make Sonic 2. The funny thing is, like, they're setting up this world building that they clearly have no interest in / ability to achieve. You're like, end of movie Robotnik. You know, he's just thin version of cartoon Robotnik. Like, he looks great.
Yeah.
And like Tails shows up. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, honestly,
it's like you don't care. Like you don't want to do that. You don't want to do a movie in that universe with those characters.
Well, they should have, because honestly, the soft opening with its like ridiculous like
with the owl.
With the owl, I was like, okay, but I have no context for the owl, so I don't know if it's
I think
actually
that's made
part
up.
of the Sonic lore. But like, regardless, like there was something that happens in that where he's like chased down by ninjas, and I'm like, holy crap, they're Knuckles.
They're Knuckles. They're echidnas. And it's like, oh, is that a thing?
I would have rather, I think, seen the movie there.
Yes. Yeah, that movie.
Which I think would have been the sequel.
Yeah.
Which probably would have been more akin to like the, you know, Tails and Sally.
Yeah.
And, you know.
But it's funny is those characters are only in those cartoons. Like, just adapt the cartoon. But even though that, I remember being a kid watching that cartoon. That cartoon was kind of bleak.
It was.
Right? Like,
I liked that.
And Never Gonna Get Uncle Chuck. I think they do. Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog, it's harmless. If you want to show it to your nephew, niece, whatever, I say there's nothing in there that's objectionable that you can worry about. Like, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and like, I'll say this too. Like, there was a moment at the end that like, I was like, they should have had more of this. And it's right at the end, and it's a music cue. and it's like a piano version
Yes.
of some of the Sonic music, and I was like, ooh!
Yeah, the Sonic music's some of the best music in video games, and it's like, use it! It should have been in every action sequence.
Yeah.
Like, they picked some rando music. They picked a song from the library of, like, cross-promotional bullshit for the Quicksilver sequence in the beginning when he's in the roadside bar, and it's like, that's... Like, it could have been anything. It's just their time in the bottle scene, and I'm like, is he... Whatever. No complaints. Even the voice of Sonic, I'm like, yeah, all right. You could have gotten Jaleel White. You could have.
You could have, for sure.
Saved some money.
But, like, you know, he was fun. He was youthful enough. You know what I mean?
Eats a chili dog.
He does eat a chili dog.
But he also farts, though.
He does fart. Or shart.
Yeah.
As
it is implied by James Marsden.
That might have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, did that just happen in this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Anyway, we saw that.
We saw Sonic.
We saw it.
Dino Jackson, congratulations on hitting 90,000. Wanted to know if you read Archie vs. Predator. Yes, both of them. CK says, hey, beautiful folk. I just got back into back issues recently and low-key forgot how much joy you all bring. Thank you for sharing your great selves. All the loves. Thank you very much, man. Tiffany, extra thank you for showing me Saga. It is my favorite.
Yay!
That is the case when people find Saga.
That's awesome.
You know, but thank you very much, man.
That's so great. Welcome back.
Yeah. Jonathan Lehman, helping us out. Thank you very much. Christian Pereira. Hey, Happy New Year. Happy better New Year. I finally get what reading Dark Knight Death Metal is like. It's like a friend telling me his D&D campaign. I get that he had fun, but I was not there to experiencing it. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Right?
That's really funny, Christian.
That's exactly what that is. Good
Love
call.
that.
I'm going to use that. Forging Views. Can't watch right now. Just want to say I couldn't believe how flimsy and abrupt the Invisible Jet explanation was. Wow. Anyway, love you guys and love the show. Thank you very much, Forging Views. Yeah, we're going to get to that.
We will get to that.
Promise.
We have a lot.
I'm not going to waste time.
We won't.
Like we did with Sonic the Hedgehog. The Gray Initiate. I remember the 70K live stream like it was yesterday. Congrats on the new milestone. 3 hours of Doomsday Clock was amazing. I've watched it twice. Holy crap.
Wow, dude.
Can't wait to see what else you have planned for this year. Can't wait to show you, man. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you for checking out the show twice. It's 6 hours. Jeffrey Candolo, congrats on 90K, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. And the ComicPOP team, your videos got me through the last semester of college, and for that, I thank you. Well, congratulations. Happy graduation.
Congratulations.
And good luck with the rest of your life. It's not. Like, don't think of it being like college and then just the rest of my life, because that's literally the rest of your life. Break that up into milestones, too.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of seeing a new Age of Heroes books, like Sideways on GBU? Absolutely. Yeah, there's a good chance that I need to buy them. John Holbrook, thanks, congratulations on 90K. Thanks for getting me through 2020 without going completely insane.
Just a little insane is okay.
Honestly, John, you guys did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have this outlet, I don't know what the hell we would have done. So thank you very much.
We would have been dressing the cats up and taking photos.
That's true. Yeah, they would have. Each of them would have gotten their own Instagram accounts. There would have been crossovers. It would have been a nightmare. Patrick Lawson, Happy New Year. Silent Tip, hope all is well. It's going well, Patrick. Thank you very much. Could be better, but you know what? We're going there. Not channel related, but tangentially. Nathan Berg, been watching old back issues. Crazy how much you've changed for the better. Love you to keep it up. 100K isn't far away. Nathan Berg, I remember you from then. Thank you very much for your support and for checking out the old show. If you guys haven't, it is very fun to see like how fat I've gotten. The Batman of Points says, I see Wonder Woman and the New Mutants in the thumbnail. Come to find Silent Tiffany talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Not bad. Good luck in the new year. Yeah, I promise we're going to
we'll
get there.
We just figured we'd start with that.
Exactly. And Myers 1963, greetings from Lithuania.
Oh,
hello. I think this might be our first Lithuanian super chat. Don't quote me on that though.
Don't add us.
Mr. Ketch, oh no, says Happy New Year. Just wanted to say thanks for the whole ComicPOP team. Binge watching back issues did a lot of help to keep me sane in 2020. Keep doing more Peter David symbiote Spider-Man cracked me up. I had a great time doing that book. It's just I want to love it, and Peter David does such a great job with that book. It's just Greg Land's art I can't. I feel really terrible about it. But I will do more Peter David.
It's just so funny. I'm just like, well, I know I never ever have to worry about getting original art
by Greg Land. Well, that in and of itself is impossible. Nerd King 101 says, congrats on 90K. You guys deserve it and way more. Thank you very much. Been following for a few years now. Been on Patreon for over a year, and I want everyone to know it's 100% worth it. I've already seen one of the next back issues, only 20 a month. Thank you very much, Nerd King, for supporting us for so long. We do appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you ever need it, if you have any questions, just shoot me a message. I check it every day. I need to do more like weekly updates because like the problem is usually like I don't have much in the way of like updating you. Like I have plans, but like I feel bad because there are more updates on Patreon about what we are gonna do, and then we never get to it. Versus like, here's what we're doing, and then seeing it.
You know
come
what
to
we'll
fruition.
start doing? We'll start doing something where it's like 2 things are a truth and 1 is a total lie.
Yeah, get ready. No. Scarlet Hottie, hope you guys had a good holiday. Hopefully 2021 gives the population much to discuss. Oh, I'm sure it will. No question about that. So yeah, we saw Soul.
We did. I didn't know we were gonna actually like mention that. I think we're just gonna
just it's good.
I really like. I think at first when we went into it,
we were like, here's another Pixar, because like Pixar's kind of like lost its way over the last couple of years.
Yeah, like honestly, like I think what was the last one I saw?
It was not The Good Dinosaur, and I don't think you saw Inside Out, so it was long before that.
It's been a while.
Oh, Incredibles 2.
It was Incredibles 2.
Which
was not for me. No, we also saw Toy Story 4.
Yes, Toy Story, which was also not great.
I didn't need.
Yeah, no.
So I went into this like, you know, kind of more excited about the art style for this than the actual story, and literally by the end of it I had such a great time. I think my review of it would be, you'll get out of it whatever you want to get out of it, because you could just take it on the face value for the story that it is, or trust me, there are some really hard-hitting lessons in there, which right at the beginning of the year could be good to kind of set a tone for yourself to try to like up the ante for the year a little bit. I had such a good time with that film, honestly. Yeah. And like that art, like I love the style of that movie.
Oh yeah.
Like
the ethereal beings.
Well, yeah, from the ethereal beings, and they're like 2 dimensions that like cross over one another, almost like, you know, like a cubist painting in a way. To the actual real world style. Yeah. The way in which like music is portrayed, the way in which like music touches people's lives, like. Yeah,
but it's not like Ratatouille where it's like, you know, the zone is not limited to music. Yeah, which I really appreciate, because Ratatouille is like a similar thing where it's like I put cheese and cherries together and I have this orgasmic experience, and it's like okay, good for you, but like if you don't have that kind of relationship with food, it's like, oh well, I don't give a shit. No, this is much more inclusive, despite the fact that it looks much more like focused, where it's like, oh, it's a movie about jazz. Pass. It's not. No, it is and it isn't. Like jazz plays a big role, and like I'm super glad it's there. Because also it like helps to really bolster the soundtrack. Yes. But honestly, like there's so much depth to this film if you want it to be there. Exactly. If you want it to be there, go in, dig into it. But if not, just enjoy the movie for what it is. That's right. We had a couple others, and then we'll jump into New Mutants. I think, right? That's the other movie. That's the only other. Yeah, that's what we did. Nick Smith, have you ever read Charles Soule's run on Marvel Now's Thunderbolts? No. Issues 12 to 22, his stuff, are some of my favorite comic arcs. Wow. That's some high praise. I do have one more movie we watched. Okay, what's that? I made you watch Your Name. Oh yeah, Your Name! The anime from 2015. Yeah, it was 2017. I wasn't that far off. I've had it for a while. It was sent to us very lovingly, and I finally had the opportunity to sit down and watch it. And Sal finally wandered into the living room. And I missed like the first 5 minutes. Yeah, you did, and you watched it with me, and I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going, and then I very obviously did not see where this was going. As is the case with that particular like studios pictures. Yeah, well, no, that's not. Is it not Summer Wars people? No, it's not. This is a different gentleman who made 5 centimeters, and I think Garden of Words. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that one. But 5 centimeters I've seen, and I really enjoyed it. Yes, I've seen Garden of Words, which is why I'm thinking it's that, but it's probably not that. So I was happy to finally sit down and watch Your Name, and I thought it was great. Yep, it's excellent. It was excellent. The pacing's fantastic, and it's just the right amount of stress. It had a similar tone to Summer Wars and the others. Kind of like you know, like real, like a slice of life, but there's something fantastical going on. Yeah, it's magical realism. It's very much like the Spanish like genre thereof, where it's like it's the real world with that, like this one change, and it's just if this one change were the thing, and it's always the one change in this particular case, in which I found across the spectrum when it comes to this kind of stuff, is the one change is Japanese folklore. Like, what if this one element of Japanese folklore was real? Well, all right, yeah, kind of. But like that's fine. Like, they're Japanese. Well, it's just funny, you know? Yeah. No, and their culture is cool. Yes. And ours as like Paul Bunyan. Like, what if Paul Bunyan was real? Oh, like no, there's no cool like American thing that I can equivalent to. I'm sure there are, but not in that capacity. But it's dope, and it's like, and it's fun, and it uses a trope that I enjoy very much. Yeah, but I'm glad we got to watch it together. Me too. Yeah, it was just a really sweet film. It is. It's very lovely. If you can watch it with somebody, if you can't, you can still watch it. Enjoy it. Just for me helped us out. Thank you very much. Thanks for getting me through 2020, and congrats on 90K. All love from the Philippines. Thank you very much, Just Me, for your support. And Zyko the Psycho, hey guys, with Tom Taylor taking on Nightwing, will you be checking it out? Yes. And any chance of the other volumes of Superman Earth 1 on back issues? I'll take that or a Nightwing book. Keep it up. Nightwing we will do one day. It won't be a straight up Nightwing book. It'll be like an Elseworlds Nightwing book, but I don't have any plans for it right away. I just know that's... If Nightwing, for me, I'm like, I got that one and then like probably Prodigal. And then when it comes to Superman Earth 1, I have no interest in doing more Superman, only because Superman, unless it's like really especially big or impactful, nobody watches Superman. We learned that the hard way by doing Superman the Earth Stealers. It was so poorly reviewed, I'm like, man, I'm never going to do any more Superman just for fun. I thought Superman was going to be like, oh, we can do Batman, Spider-Man, and any Superman. It's like, no, you cannot.
Yeah.
And we did Earth 1 Volume 1. That was really fun. I'd love to do Earth 1 Volume 2 and 3. I'm not.
Right.
But Batman Earth 1 Volume 2, 3, soon when it's done. Tom, hope you guys are well. Just got my Alex Ross art book and absolutely love it. I'm really hoping for a good Superman run in this new era of DC. Yeah, man. I don't know what we'll see. By the way, if you're not sure what he's talking about, Alex Ross has this really cool book. He's no longer sponsoring the episode, but I will mention it because I just dig it. I pre-ordered it before we got the sponsorship deal. He put out a book called like Alex Ross Unseen or something like that effect. It's just unproduced art that he did. So it's like his pick for redesigning the entire Fantastic Four, his DC Star Wars crossover, his Star Trek Star Wars crossovers, his Beatles work. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. You can find it on alexross.com. Check it out if you are so inclined. And Zyko the Psycho back saying, thoughts on Keaton apparently being the main DCU Batman. All I can say is, I've been seeing that trending on Twitter. They're basically saying Michael Keaton, according to Warner Brothers, is the main DCEU Batman. That means nothing to me because Warner Brothers, AT&T, that studio in particular, doesn't know what the terms they're using mean, and they don't care. So they're just like, here's the deal. We don't care, and we're not going to start. Like, they don't know. They didn't coin the phrase DCEU. So they don't even know what that is, and they don't have any affinity for it. There's no one at the studio level that like needs to preserve the integrity of the DCEU because they don't give a shit what that means. They don't know what that means. Obviously, Affleck's out. He might do like 2 scenes in that upcoming Flash movie, but who knows? Keaton is the main DCU Batman. It could mean Batman Beyond. If they made the DCEU or the new continuity in universe in movies Batman Beyond, I think that'd be a big mistake because it doesn't that doesn't make any sense, and it's like you've thrown away 80 years worth of continuity and story to tell stories you've never told. Yeah. Good luck with that. I don't trust the studio to do the original content. So yeah, I would take it with a grain of salt. Sounds like a big stupid thing to say out loud.
Yeah, it's just something that like there was on Buzz. Yeah, there was on Buzz.
Exactly. So yeah, let's jump into New Mutants. New Mutants was a movie that was anticipated for the last 25 years. I'm really excited that it finally came out.
Before they were making Marvel movies.
Yep.
Even,
no.
So.
It was like another like attempt at like spinning off, back when Fox was like, okay, we have Fantastic Four and X-Men. We've proven we can't make Fantastic Four movies. Let's just keep making X-Men movies. We figured it out. We can make one Logan movie. We can make multiple Deadpools, but we still need a team movie. Let's make New Mutants. And from the marketing to the premise, you could tell that they were going to do the Demon Bear saga.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah. That was there was a lot of hype for this movie for people who either knew or tangentially were aware of Demon Bear because there's a lot of really good things surrounding it. I'll let you take it away from there. What is awesome about New Mutants, and why would people be excited about a New Mutants movie?
Okay, like originally or about this one?
Yeah, initially, and then about this movie.
Because New Mutants was, a Chris Claremont kind of like, hey, here are these young mutants. They wanted to create this. But around the time of the Demon Bear saga, they brought on Sienkiewicz. I always say it wrong and you always correct me.
Well, he spells it on his Sienkiewicz.
Sienkiewicz. I always say it wrong the first time and then I get it the second time, which is why I'm never talking to him.
When I was a kid, I always pronounced it Sienkiewicz.
Yeah. Sienkiewicz.
So, yeah.
Who really brought a new twist to the way comics were told. Yeah. And in particular, for New Mutants, because New Mutants was kind of this like fringe sort of like, you
can do anything with
it. These characters, they're young, they're whatever, like they sure like Storm's in the Demon Bear saga for like a hot second, you know what I mean? Like she's doing her thing, she's kind of a mentor,
Yeah.
But the fact is, like, we can do something new and exciting with this. And what he brought was, like, this incredible styling and, like, you know, the Demon Bear himself and his look. It's like nothing we'd ever seen before.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Sienkiewicz also has a really interesting take on, like, Warlock. And, like, the
yeah.
Phalanx shows up in this saga for, like, a hot second, which is why I was like, this will be interesting to see how they trim this down, because if you pick up a trait of the Demon Bear saga, it includes some earlier New Mutants to explain to you a little bit more about Danny Moonstar.
Yes.
It gives you the Demon Bear saga, which is dealing with things that are happening in the current continuity of New Mutants, plus trying to set up things for the future. Yep. And then it includes something else at the end that kind of like brings the Demon Bear back.
Yeah, that's why in the trades we normally have, you can find New Mutants and X-Force. And it's like, what? X-Force?
Yeah, because they added in like
because they continued the Demon Bear stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, this will be interesting because there's clearly some things they're going to have to drop out of this. And they certainly did, and I think they were right because they had literally nothing to do
You're telling them you could do like a 100-minute long movie.
Yeah.
Because the Demon Bear's the one book, it's like what, 1 issue, 2 issues?
Yeah.
So it's like you could tell that whole thing to scale it back to be like, here's the team, here's the bear, they fight at the end.
Yeah.
Like there are no subplots.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really need to worry about adapting it. It's the easiest thing you could possibly adapt to introduce the New Mutants.
Sure.
Even though you need a lot of context for who these people are because they're dropping you in the middle of it. Because you're like, who's Danny Moonstar? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Well, you better because here she is.
And they also...
And she's not even in the book for most of the...
No, she's the driving force behind it, but she is unconscious for much, for much of the saga itself.
Right.
They also drop a character.
Yes.
Because Magma is in this, and she's not in the movie.
Too expensive.
I think definitely too expensive.
Well, also, what? Two fire-based powers? No.
We can't have that many fire-based powers. We don't need all those fire-based powers.
Yeah.
This film, of course, was stuck in limbo.
I see what you did there.
For the longest time, it had like a little bit of controversy around it about how they misspelled.
Bob McLeod's name in the credits. Yep.
Yeah,
that controversy was started by Bob McLeod.
Well, look, here's the thing. Like,
listen, if it was my name, I'd be pissed too.
It's your name. Like it's like it's yours.
And it's the first and last time I'm probably going to be in an X-Men movie.
Yeah, so like I understand that. That is on a bunch of people's shoulders, for certain. Like, you know, there's a lot that goes into that. I've also been on the other side of that, where it's just like,
dude, there's a lot of names.
There's so many names, you know what I mean? Like, and like, so it sucks that it's you.
Yeah.
It sucks that it's anyone.
It always sucks that it's you.
Yeah, but it's like, I've been on that side where it's like, there's only so many people who can look at these things and like try to get it correct.
Right.
And, like, it
now
sucks.
that being said, you had the movie for like 4 years in development. You could have spell checked it twice.
You could have spell checked it a couple times.
Yeah.
A couple times for sure. I would say New Mutants the movie is a complete 100% like adaptation of this.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the Demon Bear saga in that movie. And there's no way that they could have done that. The fact is, it's like they're trying to make it so that it makes sense in the context of that film. The Demon Bear saga makes sense in the context of everything that's been going on with the New Mutants and like knowing, you know, Danny and knowing some of these characters.
Yeah, and if you don't know them, you need to adapt it to introduce those characters.
So the film has the battle of, I need to introduce you to these characters. At least you already know what mutants are.
Right.
You know what a mutant is.
Yeah.
Cool. But I need to introduce you to all of these folk. I need to introduce you to a little bit of Danny's culture.
Yep.
I need to introduce you to the facility
Yeah.
that they're going to be in, and then I need to tell you the story and have it wrap up.
Right.
At the end.
Yeah.
What'd you think? Did they do it?
I think they accomplished it.
I think
like it is a movie.
Yes, no, for sure. I think they accomplished it definitely. I enjoyed it, I think, more than I thought I was going to, because I went into it having zero expectations because of how long it had been sitting on the shelf. Honestly, like I didn't have any hope for it. And so I think I enjoyed it a little bit more because of that.
Certainly, I enjoyed it more based on the negative press I heard about it.
Yeah.
Like after it had come out, people were like, "Oh, it's like," I heard such extremes. Like I didn't hear anybody say like, "Oh, it's fine." Like there was one reviewer I saw who said like, "No, it's fine," and even then, I don't think that was like a fair assessment. But everyone who I'd heard an opinion about this movie was saying it was like the worst thing ever, like the worst one. I'm like, the worst one?
Yeah.
Have you seen X3? Have you seen Apocalypse? Have you seen Dark Phoenix?
Right.
The worst one? Like, I think I enjoyed this more than Deadpool 2. And
oh.
because Deadpool
Well,
2 was like...
I know you don't like that child actor.
No, I don't. No, I don't. And seeing him in Christmas Chronicles 2, I'm like, not again!
Yeah.
Go away! Who are you? Who do you know? Get out of my movies. You're awful.
There were moments in this clearly that like really appealed to me, visually speaking.
Yeah.
Again, because of that like of horror that I have,
Right.
and like there were like some low key Silent Hill vibes, some low key like copy or creepypasta kind of like story vibes going on in there. That said, I think they definitely missed out on a couple of beats that they could have gone for the team, like the like, hey, we're young kids and we're having fun and we gotta like not like each other and then we like each other.
They don't like each other for longer than they do like each other, and they don't like each other for any good reason. Like they don't ever like have a thing that brings them together outside of like the real world. I guess I really wouldn't not like this person for this long anymore. Like it actually is more realistic that they stop not liking each other because the reasons they didn't like each other were so petty and lame that it's like you would just stop doing that.
Right. I will say the only person that like is like she's like weirdly out of character and yet for the character they built for the movie is in character is Magic because it's like
that ain't Magic.
Magic no. But the actress is great and like yes, she comes off as like hating and like she really doesn't seem to like Danny whatsoever based on her culture and her race.
Right.
However, the story they tell you is like what a damaged individual she is, and like it's very obvious that she's doing that as a way to like ground herself, and also it doesn't make it right.
No.
Does not make it right, but it's like a way in which she tries to make herself feel better because of how damaged she is based on her upbringing.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying that's a right reason to do anything,
no,
but at least
I get it in the movie.
Character in the context of everything, it makes sense for her.
Yeah. So I dig that. The visual, like, it's funny because from the trailer, I was expecting a movie about like a small confederacy of characters in a very like claustrophobic setting for the whole movie.
Sure.
And I got that.
You did.
And I'm like, yay.
Yeah, no, like what I like it was that she like that it like literally takes place in like one set, and for them it is a world-ending event for them, but not for the actual world,
which is something that the X-Men franchise desperately needs, because First Class would have been way better if there wasn't like a Cuban Missile Crisis at the end. The X-Men do save the world when they're fighting the Phoenix or Apocalypse. That I get. But like every other X-Men movie, like you could scale it back a little bit. Like X2, arguably one of the best ones. They have to stop the Flood. I don't know. Like they got to stop Stryker. He's a jerk.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, it's just Stryker's gonna like steal mutants, and that's right. They're killing everybody. They're killing all the mutants. Okay, but it was just them, and then it was flipped. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was a world-ending event. But I like when the X-Men are just like dealing with protecting themselves. Like some superhero, I don't remember who it was, but like broke it down where like the Fantastic Four explore, the Avengers avenge, the X-Men defend. And like the X-Men defend. Like they protect themselves, and they're dealing with like aggressors from outside. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I think it worked. Even it's not X-Men, but it is in the X-Men universe.
Yeah.
There was a moment that like there's an aspect of this movie where it's like, yeah, listen, like I hate to be the first one to tell anybody this, but like Hollywood has utter disdain for comic books.
Oh, sure.
Like they don't respect them, they don't like them, they hate having to use them. Some studios like make movies that are like apologies for having to use the franchise because they don't have Harry Potter anymore.
Right,
like,
right.
They just don't like using them, and so occasionally you'll get like Spider-Man 1 and 2. They were like. I remember watching producers talk about how like they were like, what we found out what was really cool is Sam Raimi actually liked the character. And it was like, yeah, the only reason why Spider-Man worked in any conceivable level is because Sam Raimi liked the character and was like, you have to use these things. Because if you read any script for Spider-Man before Sam Raimi came along, it's like, wow, that's not Spider-Man. Because Hollywood's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I just want to take their money. I don't want to like,
right,
I don't want to appeal to them. So it's like X-Men's hard because it's like 1,000 characters and it's like they're never going to get it right. They're never going to give you the character you want. And when they do, it's like, wow, I can't believe they did that. And usually it's by accident.
Or it's by accident, or it's like it's in name only and it's not actually the character.
Right. Or like, an actor or driving force behind it, like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Why does Deadpool exist and why do you like it? Because Ryan Reynolds cares. That's why.
Yeah.
Like, and so the closest you can get is like cosmetic shit, like Lockheed.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Lockheed's in this movie. He's a puppet expression of Ileana's like trauma.
Yeah.
But when she's using magic, he's a real dragon. But that's not even her dragon.
But he isn't. He is in New Mutants. In New Mutants, Ileana has Lockheed.
Right.
And so like they're like,
well,
a dragon.
Yeah. Hey, that's
throw it in.
Hey, like that's a fun visual cue that will make the nerds stand up and clap. And it's like, yeah, is it condescending and frustrating? Yeah, but like, is it dope when she uses her powers and fucking Lockheed comes to life?
Yeah.
And starts shooting fire? Yeah. And that's like, when you shut off that aspect of your brain, and you don't even need to shut it off, but like understand that Hollywood hates this shit, and they made it anyway, and Lockheed the Dragon is purple, and he doesn't talk, and he shoots hellfire, like, that's cool. Yeah, no complaints there.
No,
is it like dumb that it comes to life and it's like actually like a trauma puppet?
Yeah,
like, yeah.
It's like window dressing, kind of.
Yeah.
For the film. I felt like one of the biggest like weird successes for me was the fact that the demon bear kind of looked like the size it would have been.
Yes.
It's not the like it's more like a bear than it is in the
comic.
In the
comic. Because of course, the sadness is that it's CG.
I know.
You could have just done Sienkiewicz's bear.
Yeah.
And it would have been fucking weird.
I know. It would have been weird and dope and crazy, but they didn't do that.
No,
like,
it's just a literal bear.
But his size and like some of the proportions, I was like, that's cool, and that's very evocative of the bear. They completely changed the ending.
Yes. As they had.
There's part of it that I like about it, and there's part of it that I don't. I'm like, in the book, it sets up that like it's her parents, and they were possessed, and they were taken over by the bear, and that like they were now freed, and like it was only her grandfather that was keeping her safe, and that's why like once he died, they were coming for her, right? Yeah. And in this, she actually gets to face it. Right. She doesn't face it.
No, they have to. Her friends fight.
Yeah, her friends fight it for her, which is like it's a team building event.
Why not? But like, if you're building a team, do it.
Yeah.
You know what? Fine. It actually is like a trimmed. It's a more streamlined. Like, I get it, and I'm not mad that they did that.
Yeah. But it's just funny how much it really does diverge from that, because they go someplace else and they fight that bear, and then they fight the bear in a church.
They literally fight it here.
They literally fight it in a church. So take it if you want it. Like, it's out there. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. Anymore.
No, and like especially if you want to like show just how little the studio gave a shit. The Essex they see, like, I think Dani uses her mind powers and she can see into her brain. Yeah. And she sees the facility that creates X-23 from Logan. So is New Mutants taking place in the Logan future?
Right.
So does that mean that there is no X-Men? Because like they're talking about like the facility in Westchester and they know the X-Men, but like the X-Men have been dead for years. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And at first you're like, oh, neat, Mr. Sinister. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Then you're thinking like, wait, but Mr. Sinister post Logan? So like, wait. But that doesn't make any sense.
I know.
And it's like, if you dropped that and stole the ending from Wolverine, like X-Men Origins Wolverine, where like Professor X shows up in a jet, he's like, come on, like, I would have been okay with that.
I kind of enjoyed it just being not associated with anything. Yeah. Like, it's just its own thing.
I'm glad of that too.
They hint at Xavier. They hint at like the grander world that's out there, but we don't see anything of it. The story is entirely isolated in a bubble and doesn't have to affect anything that you enjoy.
That's the thing. It's just like, who cares?
That's what's so satisfying about these smaller films. Is that it doesn't affect anything you already enjoy.
Yeah, it's actually really cool that it's remarkable that they got away with making a movie this small in this franchise that this studio desperately thought they needed.
Right.
They're like, I need to make a thing. Yeah. It's like, here's a movie that should have cost like $50 million.
Sure.
Like, who cares? And it was just like a little fun movie, and I'm glad. And like, there were sequences like the creepypasta like Slenderman, where I'm like, I can't believe they did this.
Right, exactly. And like, for those who are excited for a horror themed Doctor Strange movie, you should be excited that they've already tested the waters, kind of.
Yeah, it's too bad that like everyone considers this a failure because like this is actually kind of neat and scary.
But like what it's doing at the very least, even if you don't like the film, even if you don't like the politics around it, even if you don't like anything about it, what you can like about it is the fact that it tried to do a superhero film in a different genre.
Yeah. And
like I think for that, it's like, that's neat.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Exactly. No, I didn't feel like I wasted my time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is cool. I would have been happy to have seen it in theaters or when it was supposed to come out.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was happy to.
Oh no, it was great to be able to pause.
Spend less.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Therio, God of Rage, congrats on 90K. You guys make me feel less alone in my love for comics, and I love you both for it. Keep on thundering. Trying, man. Thank you very much, God of Rage. Keep it up, man.
Thank you.
Ricky Walter, keep watching you. Been watching you guys for a while. It's my evening ritual to watch you mercilessly rip apart great and horrible stories before I go to sleep. Keep it up. P.S. Still waiting on Holy Terror. Haha. Yeah, Ricky. We're working on that. I mean, not really, but like I will eventually do it. Maybe. We'll see. At this point, like, does anybody care about Holy Terror or care to me talking about it? I doubt it. But, well, you know, you never know. Thank you very much, man. So, Justin Hope, I want to support you guys more. I was wondering what gives you more YouTube money. Do you get more if I skip the commercials or if I watch them? I mean, obviously, if you watch them, it helps out. A lot of people, like, back when YouTube gurus made money or worked for studios before they were all fired, they would say things like, no one's watching your shows. They just run it. Like, so put as many ads as you can into every episode. Like, just put them in there. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when people watch back issues, they're just clicking it and then leaving the room. Mm-hmm. So they can't skip them. And I'm like, there's no fucking way that's true. But I bet it is true for some of them. And I know that, like, some of my colleagues take it a little bit more directly than others, where it's like, sweet, your video is 10 minutes? That's 4 ads. Whoa, your video's an hour? That's like 26 ads. And I'm like,
that's
dude,
too many ads.
Dude, no one's gonna stay. And it's like, yeah, but they're already AFK. But if you are AFK and you know, then yeah, let the ad run. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to like run ads. Like, the reality is, like, if you really want to directly support me, go to patreon.com/compop. You can do that, or you know, or whatever. You could always use the super chats. That also helps. I mean, because we're not the ad money is the number one place for revenue, but it shouldn't be, and it won't be forever. So. You know, these are the avenues. Dizzy C, thank you very much for your support, man.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Soundtev, longtime viewer, been watching ComicPOP since Spider-Man Blue. Those are gray couch days, I think. Wanted to mention, because I don't think most folks are reading it, Kelly Thompson's Black Widow is an amazing run. Might be her best run at Marvel, which what I'd say is the best art in Marvel line right now. Yeah, I loved the first issue. I enjoyed the first issue. I loved the art. The coloring sucked. And I wanted it to be more engaging. The premise was neater. You know, like, it was more interesting than previous attempts on Black Widow, so I do appreciate that. I need to read more of it. I know you like Kelly Thompson's work.
I do.
Particularly more on other books than Black Widow. Mm-hmm. But thank you for the support. And yeah, listen, check out Black Widow. Kelly Thompson, just follow her career.
Yes.
Corey Latham says, hey, just wanted to say thanks. I got a bunch of new comics for Christmas thanks to your recommendations, such as Mr. Miracle and New Frontier. Happy 90K.
Nice.
Those are great. Those are great
excellent
books.
Picks.
Thank you.
Excellent picks.
We're almost here.
We're almost here.
We're almost to the next thing. MA says, just wanted to say thanks for getting me through family issues in my second to last semester of high school. Back issues has kept me going, and I can't thank you guys enough. Love you guys. Love you too, MA. Thank you very much.
And congrats on graduating.
Yeah, right? If that's...
Well, second to last.
Yeah, so you're almost there. Stick with it.
Is that the penultimate semester?
The penultimate semester. Yeah. So put it that way, man. Brandon Musha says, any plans on bringing back Heroes Against Humanity with Benny? That was a great show. Not my show, and not my circus, not my monkeys. If you want to see that show come back, ask Benny. Or check out Absolute Comics on twitch.tv/comicstorian on Tuesdays after 5:30 p.m. and you can ask your question there. Mods and or Benny will answer it for you. I would if I knew the answer to that. I can't because I don't run that show. I could really be like, hey man, go for it. Like, you know, I could be like, hey Benny, I could tell him, but you know, yeah. And Asger's Web, can you do The Child Within by J.M.D. Mateus on back issues? I can do that. But I'll have to get it on in trade, which I don't think it is. Or if it is, it's in like an old trade, which I know one store that has it, and it's in New Hope, Pennsylvania. So I'll have to go find it. So yeah.
But not right now.
But not right now. Now we're talking about Wonder Woman 84 or WW84 or Wonder Woman 1984, all of which was directed by Patty Jenkins and written by Patty Jenkins and Jeff Johns and a couple other people. This movie had come out this holiday weekend, and we saw it. There's a lot of controversy / discussion around this movie, so let's talk a little bit about our initial thoughts on the movie, and I guess we could, we'll just talk about the movie.
Sure.
So, Wonder Woman 84, sequel to the first movie, set in the DCU, I guess, whatever. We're not going to talk about the DCU.
Nope.
Its connections are untethered. It is adrift. It has virtually nothing to do with anything outside of Wonder Woman hitting a couple of security cams. Like there's virtually nothing there.
Yeah.
To connect it in any way to the DCEU outside of a couple of like eagle-eyed Mr. Sunday movies-esque, look at that, did you miss it kind of motions that I don't care about talking about. Let's talk about the movie itself.
Let's do it.
This movie is not very good.
What? No, it's not.
it's not very good, and it's like
it's a hot mess.
It is a hot mess. Like it's too bad because like it has a lot of the things that I want, right? Like let's talk about some of the things that we liked and some of the things that I've wanted that it thought it was doing for me.
Okay.
It was brighter, which is something that I've been asking for from the DCU for a while. These characters are colorful superheroes. We should be able to see their colors. We should be able to see them being superheroes. We see both those things. They up the color and they up the superheroics when those scenes take place, of which there are two. But yeah, we get, except for that one scene where she fights the bad guy. But like Wonder Woman, like the color palette's up. And I enjoyed the fact that, like, in the 80 years since the last time we saw her, or 70 years, really, she uses her lasso. And I was thinking about, like, how much she uses it and how I'm like, this is ridiculous. But I do appreciate that, like, she learned how to use it so well.
Sure.
You know, like, hey, listen, like, if you have the lasso of truth, and that's, like, your most powerful weapon in your arsenal, not including swords, then you're going to learn how to use this versatilely. And, so she could, like, make it into a shield, even though she had one, or she could use it as she could web swing with it.
Yeah.
She could latch on to anyone with it. Like, it could do anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was fun to see her, like, using it a lot. Because I like the effect of the lasso, and I like seeing it in action. I was like, cool, look at her being a Wonder Woman. Look at her throwing her tiara. And, like, that's a thing she does. And I remember being like, early in the movie, I was like, we were watching it with a person who'd never seen any Wonder Woman movie and knew virtually nothing about the character.
Yes.
And I was like, and she asked something about flying, and I'm like, yeah, she used to, it's like in some continuity she can fly.
Yeah.
And then she does.
Yep, and then she does.
She does all the things. Like, here's the thing, she does all the things that anyone in their 60s would think Wonder Woman does. Like, she flies, she uses her lasso, she tells the truth, she gives long speeches about, like, truth and love, and, she flies an invisible jet, and she has no other discernible personality.
Yeah.
Like, she does all kinds of stuff. But yeah, otherwise, like, she's, she cosmetically checks boxes that say Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Also, Pedro Pascal is good in it.
He's fine. You know what, though? I both love and I don't like him in this movie.
No, well, it's because he doesn't know what this is. Like,
he doesn't know.
He's like, what the fuck? Like, he's reading the script and he's like, okay, so I do this and then I do this. But
he's
like,
swinging for the fences and being an 80s guy. He's like the Futurama 80s guy.
Yeah, he's being bonitis.
He's got bonitis and he's got to cure it.
Yeah.
And his only wish
is that he thought to cure bonitis.
But, and like he's just going for it.
Yeah, and I really value that.
But like sometimes you don't have to go for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's Nicolas Cage. Like, you don't always have to go for 110%. Sometimes the role requires you to just be the character.
Yeah.
But the fact is, because he isn't in any way Maxwell Lord. Like, at some point or other, I was like,
excuse me, he's Max Lord.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is he's not Maxwell Lord. I'm like, at some point, maybe like a third of the way through the movie, I'm like, oh, you're not even gonna do that. So, like, he's somebody else.
Yeah.
That sucks for two reasons. One, we didn't get Maxwell Lord. Two, we're never going to get Maxwell Lord.
Well, maybe they will. Maybe they'll be like,
no,
I'm the real Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, we're going to Mandarin
not even
him.
Your real name.
Yeah, we're going to Mandarin him up. The real Maxwell Lord's going to show up and kill him in the first act.
Yep.
And be like, he's mad that you took his name. Like, no! They're not going to do that. But I don't even want them to do that. I wanted them to do Maxwell Lord, but instead it's just like, he's a Trump like stand-in. He's an 80s guy. He's a snake oil salesman. He's a like TV guru. He's an evangelical. Like, he's like all these crappy things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, and he's that kid. He has a kid. The kid is terrible. It's not his fault.
He's not given anything.
He's not given anything.
He's not given anything to work with. You can't say that kid's terrible because he's not given anything to do.
But I feel bad for him because Pedro Pascal is like, listen, I'm the Mandalorian. If I'm not careful, that's it. And like, 99% of the show is the mask. So I better do something. So he is using that kid like a prop, and I feel really bad because like every shot he has that kid, he is like, they might as well have just been like, there is no kid. You just put a little like a dummy there because he's like flinging him around. He's like hugging him. He's grabbing his head. I'm like, this kid must be like freaking out. Like when he gets to his trailer or his Paris trailer, he's like, this Pedro Pascal guy is really getting grabby. Like I feel really bad because he's just shaking this kid because he loves him so much.
Yeah.
It's just like, who cares? Like every time that a movie's like, I want you to feel a little bad for them, they always throw a kid in there, and I'm like, God damn it. But anyway, that's another tangent. But like, yeah, Pedro Pascal. But I liked that he gave it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He brought it.
Yeah.
And it's just the character sucks and the story's stupid.
Sure. I mean, like, I would say the same thing about Kristen Wiig.
Yes.
Because like she does a surprisingly better job than I was anticipated.
Yeah.
And like she actually, like, as her character has its turn.
Yep.
And like changes, she changes as well, physically and in terms of like acting.
Just like Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns.
Sure. But like, like she still does it. And like it's just
who gives a shit? Because like she is in the first act her character from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care. You hired Kristen Wiig. That's who she is.
Yeah.
That's who she is in every SNL sketch. That's who she is in Ghostbusters, Bridesmaids. That's who she is. You hired her. She's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. So, okay, fine. As much as I don't want that, that's what she did. But when she but there was also some character there. Like her, I am amazed at the restraint in not making her an overt lesbian. Like there was an undercurrent of her attraction to Wonder Woman.
Right.
And it's like, it could be interpreted one way or the other. It could be like, she's just so like impressed with her.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, like you really went there? No, she's not gay for Wonder Woman. It's like, or you could say, yeah, no, she lives in the 80s. And she's like, I can't just say I'm gay. Like I can't be gay for Wonder Woman. Or like people will give me more shit than I already get. Like I'm different enough, Like I don't need that kind of bullshit from society. Cool. And they don't go there, like, because they don't like halfway through forget it's the 80s and go like, I'm gay. I don't care who knows it. Like, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really cool. Like that there's subtlety in this character that turns into a cat lady at the end.
Well, I mean, we knew she was going to turn into.
We knew she was going to turn into a cat lady, but I don't think anyone expected her to turn into a cat lady like that.
No.
Like there were a lot of options, and they went with none of them. You had a pitch for how she turns into a cheetah. Do you remember it?
No.
Okay, because I vaguely do.
Remember it?
Yeah, basically that like she she wishes that she were like Diana, so she gets powers, and then she gets strength, and I think the idea was that like maybe she like wants to like she realizes that's not enough or something like that. I don't remember. It was something like where that's a monkey's paw. The idea is that the wishes are a monkey's paw, and so like.
Which is what they are.
Yeah, but like not really though.
I remember what it was.
Okay, what was it?
It was Cersei.
That's it. Thank
because
you.
Cersei is known for turning people into animals, and so since Cersei is like behind the scenes, like mastering things, which is not what happens.
Not what happens.
In the movie, that's why she turns into an animal.
Yes, because like
although typically men.
But who cares?
She makes an exception.
Yeah, the idea is that like the rock, because in the story the Wish Rock is like connected to the gods, and so you were like, ooh.
When you said The Rock, I was like, Dwayne Johnson.
Who is in the DCU and will be Black Adam.
Dwayne Johnson as the Wishing Rock.
As the Wishing Stone. But yeah, so it says that it's connected to gods. You were like, ooh, Cersei, that'd be cool.
I was so there.
Especially because they were clearly Spider-Man 3 in this movie where they're like, okay, Cheetah, Max, Cersei.
I was like, that's the post-credits. Got it. We're going to find out Cersei.
Yeah, the whole thing. It'd be amazing if there was no Wish Rock. It was just like, it's a rock.
Yeah.
And she made the wishes happen.
Yeah.
And it's like really Cersei. And then it's like, we're setting it up for like a god fight in Wonder Woman 3. Or Wonder Woman 1996, or whatever the fuck they want to call it next. Because that's greenlit. That's happening. But yeah, I love the idea that like Cersei was behind it all, and then like she's like, okay, you want power like Wonder Woman, but like you got to be a cat now, and it's like you can't. No one's gonna want to have sex with you except creeps in the basements. So Here we go. Like,
Wow.
I don't know, something like that. But anyway, Cheetah was a disappointment, but we didn't get there yet.
No, we'll get there. Like, this movie, like, starts off with 2 different openings.
Yep, we got 2 cold opens for this movie.
2 different openings. One, which is only cool because it's like, hey, Antiope got to be back for a second.
Which is literally the only reason.
Nothing. The coolest moment for me for her is when she strides out onto a field of women running at her with javelins, and she's like, I gotta pull this kid out now. She like super moms it. She's like a kid throwing a tantrum in the store. Nah.
No. Boom.
Bam. You're out.
Drop my cart. Take the kid. It's over.
We don't need any of this food.
The rest of my day is gonna be punishing you. That is dope. Yeah.
But that's it. Like, she doesn't say anything useful.
She says a lot of things.
She says a lot of things, and like
shit.
it's trying to set things up for later, but like it's completely useless.
Yes.
The whole sequence is completely useless. It's just I feel like it's supposed to make you think of the first movie.
Yeah. Well, because...
But that's not what this movie is.
Because
this movie's not the first movie.
No, it's not.
It tries so hard to make you think of that first movie, and it's just not that movie.
But also, like, deliberately isn't. Like, from the color palette to the tone to the direction to, like, and it's directed by the same fucking person.
Yep.
But it is not the first movie. And then you, like, you see other reviews and, like, you see comparisons, like, of scenes. You're like, wow, that is not the same fucking movie. Like, at all.
Yep.
Like, damn. Big Ares fight notwithstanding. Which, by the way, like, you learned something interesting about the Ares fight, right? You were talking about that the other day.
I was talking. I thought I read someplace, and I don't have a source cited for this because it was one of those things where I was reading an article on my phone and then I made it go away forever.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I'm so good at this.
I do that too.
I'm good at the
Constantly.
internet. But that, like, originally, like, Hades, the actor who played Hades, which I never remember his name.
Lupin.
Yeah. Or Ares. I said Hades. Ares.
Ares, yeah.
He was playing Ares, like, was supposed to just be himself and was like, ta-da, it's me.
Right.
Or is it?
I look like that guy because I wanted to look like that guy, but actually I'm just a big scary monster. Like, or a big scary guy.
He's just himself. Like, he's just that guy, but with no big body attached to it. It's just like, this is it. I'm Ares.
Right, okay.
Like, that's it. And that there wasn't supposed to be that, like, weird, like, his head on, like,
on a
big
terrible CG body, like Mark Ruffalo in the Iron Man suit.
Like, Patty Jenkins had pitched that to the studio, and the studio was like, cool, all right, yeah. Hey, I know we're shooting this now. We want to see Ares.
Yeah, actually, you know what? No. Give him a big
to put him in.
thing.
So they didn't really have enough time to really fully polish that sequence because, like, it was put in late. And I was like, oh.
That shows.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And you recognize that. Well, at least Jenkins recognizes that. She's like, like, it turned out fine, I guess. But, like, she recognizes it's not as complete as it should have been.
Based on every article I've read about Patty Jenkins over the last year, Patty Jenkins is really good at, like, deflecting blame.
Sure.
Like, she's really good at citing something that you don't like about something she did and then saying it's not her fault.
Right. That one I can buy, though, because the way the conversation goes, I was like, that's such a studio thing.
Totally.
Where they're like, yeah.
But no.
But hey.
But actually,
it's the thing I want.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is such a studio move.
Completely.
100%. Like, other stuff, probably not. But
probably
like
not.
That, I was like, I buy it. I buy the studio being like, I'm so on board for this vision.
Yep. But we're not going to do that.
Hey, you know what I was thinking you should do? That thing I said.
Yeah, the thing I said that is way less good.
You remember the thing I said?
But, like, this movie has 2 cold opens. Neither of them matter. The second one is the part where that I thought I was going to enjoy the most. It had Spider-Man 2 and 3-esque extras in it that were just laughably terrible, and it, like, frustrated me beyond belief. I don't know why, but I'm, like, always really frustrated by bad extras or, like, overacting extras.
Yeah,
where they just chew the scenery, and I'm like, don't do that. The one where it's like the most distinct looking human I've ever seen yelling no, like at the top of his lungs, and it's like you're trying to run away with like money and stolen jewels and you're yelling no, like I was just like, this is horrible.
The mall, all right, so like that, the first cold open leading into the mall sequence, I was like, whoa. What is happening?
Halfway through the Themyscira sequence, I'm like, I can't believe it's still going.
Right?
This is really got to tie in.
Right?
Nope. Then mall sequence.
The mall sequence, and mall sequence is like what you usually want from like a street level superhero is to just see them like stopping crime.
Right.
But this is Wonder Woman and she just fought a god, so
it's kind of ridiculous.
It's kind of weird.
Well, no, watch her mop the floor with these guys, right? Like, cause like what could be possibly more frustrating? Like, what could be like? How can we raise the stakes? She's got to fight a cheetah at the end, cause like look at her mop the floor with these dudes. Okay.
But she has to do it, like, secretively, but you're in the mall.
I know.
I mean, you're in the mall in the 80s, so it's not like everyone's got a phone.
No one's filming with... You know how much cameras, like, camcorders in 1984, I can tell you this, were $3,000.
Yeah.
So not everyone was walking around the mall in D.C. with $3,000 video cameras.
Yeah.
But, like, listen, I don't care about
it's-
that. Like, the fact is, Wonder Woman being like a myth until 2008 or whatever sucks. And like the more away from that we get, the better. The
I
fact that you
guess-
even got like her breaking the cameras is
See-
like like an allowance. Like, you're lucky you got that at
Yeah,
all.
the Wonder Woman myth thing, like whatever, but the Wonder Woman myth thing would have allowed for them to actually do a cheetah origin, because Wonder Woman could have been living in like some archaeological like jungle region or whatever, doing her thing, because it's like kind of close to Themyscira, not really.
Right.
And like we have cheetah introduced that way, where
Yes.
there's like it's cliche and it's stupid, but like at least it's more accurate.
Well, because I remember like 5 minutes into the movie, after meeting Cheetah, you're like, isn't she like an archaeologist?
Yeah, they're like, no, she's a gemologist. I'm like,
Oh, that sucks.
sure.
Oh, well, that kind of changes everything.
I'm like, so the rock is tied to some cheetah. Nope.
Nope.
No,
No.
cool.
It's nothing.
Yeah, and like, alright, so after the mall sequence, which at least admittedly I was like, hey, look at them like doing Stranger Things set dressings here.
For me, I was like, look at Shazam.
Well, yeah,
It just looks like Shazam again, because there's a
Yeah.
big fight in the mall, and it's bright and colorful, and it's like silly.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Oh no, yeah,
Like,
That's what I
fun.
wanted.
That's fun.
yeah.
But then we really like, they're like, all right, now we gotta
Now we got to get back to the plot.
Now we
You know,
gotta
the thing
get
you're really
into
here
it.
for.
which is that like Max Lord is a failing oil tycoon
Yep.
who is a flim flam artist who is like, hey, I'm totally rich and awesome and have all of these oil fields and you should invest in me. And like that, when you were talking about things that we liked, I was trying so hard to come up with something I liked.
And
And
that
I
was
was
the one of
really
them.
having a hard time with it. It's the visual storytelling that actually happens in this movie for like a second, where they go to, was it Black Gold?
Yes.
And like he walks in and there's like the ridiculous like lobby with
The opulent lobby with the sexy receptionist.
yeah, from the 80s, and like, you know, he's like, hold my calls and blah blah blah, and then he enters into the rest of the building and he goes upstairs and it's empty.
Yeah.
And it's huge. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome. You told me everything I needed to know without having to tell me.
You
it.
literally didn't need a kid. Like,
like,
you didn't need anything. You didn't need a scene of him tearfully like begging this guy for money. Like, you see it.
Yeah, you
He's
did it.
surrounded by his failure. That's so great.
You did it. You did the thing you're supposed to do.
Hey, you showed, not told. That's what movies are supposed to do. Oh, I forgot that we were watching a movie.
Yeah, so like I really dug that, and like there was like, regardless of the fact that like, it is like this is the plot to Wonder Woman.
Right.
There's something interesting about that character who's like just trying to prove himself and make his way in the world.
Yes.
And like honestly, being in the 80s and like it is a like very one type of guy is really the guy who's supposed to be like, you know, like on Wall Street and like doing whatever. And Pedro Pascal is not that guy.
No.
And like, so he's already has an uphill battle. And I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Right.
It's kind of the only way he can make it in his head is by using magic. And I'm
Right.
like, that's kind of
That's kind of cool. It's like that character from Wonder Woman 1 who's like, I want to be an actor, but I'm the wrong color.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
the same thing, but a little worse.
Right. But like, there's something like that's fundamentally interesting about that.
Yes.
But like, it kind of gets brushed aside.
It does, in favor of all the other bullshit.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's what's like kills me about that.
Yeah.
I was like, but like, I get it because like that's like a rough, like how do you make transition that into a Wonder Woman plot? I'm like, that's like an interesting plot for something. I don't know what.
How's Wonder Woman going to teach him a lesson about like valuing his race?
Yeah, and like his
Probably, I don't
upbringing,
know.
and like, you know, who he is as a person, and like how to make his own way.
Yeah.
And like be
Yeah,
like,
she's
that-
not going to do that.
I don't know. But yeah, so
I don't
like,
know, but I wasn't charged to write Wonder Woman 2.
right. But like, you know, it's all tied together. The jewel heist was
Yes.
to, like, you know,
was orchestrated.
to get this specific rock that's super important, and like the FBI reaches out to the Smithsonian where Diana works and Kristen Wiig works, and they need a gemologist to look at this thing because they gotta figure out what it is. I feel like that would have just gone in a room someplace.
Absolutely.
Like the FBI would have been like, I don't give a crap.
Nope.
I don't care.
Hey, they could have been.
It was a slow day for the FBI.
You know, you didn't need to make it a gem. It could have been like it could have been a gem inside of a thing. So
It's
she's
not
an
a gem. It's a stone.
It's a stone,
It's a
but
stone.
like it could have been inside of like, you know, she's an archaeologist. It could have been inside of like a thing,
Mhm.
you know, like a statue that she would have like been an expert on, and then like Lord accidentally drops it in a room, and then she
Right.
finds it that way, you know. So it's like that's why she's connected, something to actually make Minerva not be stupid. But yeah, no gemstones. Gemologists.
Yeah, and essentially that's how they get tied into it. And then like, you know, oh, it's a wishing stone.
I remember like, I was like, what? Like when it was a wishing stone, I was like,
Listen,
what the fuck?
You find a really big troll doll. You pop that thing right in its tummy.
Yeah, that's right. And then you just rub it.
Yeah, and then you flick its hair back and forth.
Is it both? Is that why my wishes didn't come true?
No, you just do that because it's fun.
Oh, because it's fun. I see.
Because it's like it has no actual round head. It's just like
It's
just
just-
a hole and hair shoots
It's
out
a
of it.
planter for hair. Yeah.
But like we discover that it's like, and I'm going to bring this up because I'm going to talk about this later. We discover that it's a wishing stone by a guy holding it and being like, "Oh, I wish I had a cup of coffee."
And then the coffee appears.
And the coffee appears and he has a coffee because like someone's out sick, and that was the trade-off. That person's sick. I
What?
guess that's what the trade-off is.
No, it was not. Because there has to be monkey's paw. There has to be a trade-off, even though there aren't randomly.
Right. And so like, you know, then Wonder Woman holds it.
And she
And
silently
makes a silent
wishes
wish,
about
and
Steve
Kristen
being
Wiig
back.
makes her wish, and it's like, okay, I see what we're doing here.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, no, you don't see what you're doing because then
No.
Pedro Pascal eventually gets a hold of it by like, you know, delighting and dazzling.
Yeah, he seduces her.
like Kristen Wiig and
Uh-huh.
like, you know, like talking about how awesome she is and having a good time.
How does he
and having-
steal it? It's huge. It's like the size of a freaking like car
They
battery.
have- I think he asks for it because and they have sex.
You think?
They definitely do.
No, but how does he get it out?
I think he just says like, I'm gonna take this.
Really? You think he just takes it? Because I thought he like smuggled it out.
In the aftermath of it, like, you know,
Yeah.
he's like, it's like pillow talk.
You know, if
I'm
he
just gonna
can,
borrow this.
if Pedro Pascal's
we'll have
character,
dinner
like,
next week.
if Max Lord can like bag, you know, people like Kristen Wiig,
Well, she's like, she's not all.
she's got glasses. Don't forget.
Well, no, that's right. At the time, that's not like she doesn't. They don't bang yet.
No.
Like he leaves because he
Mhm.
knows that she has it, and then she comes back and she's all hot.
Right.
She's all hot.
Yeah.
But
But that also, of course, torpedoes my gay plot because she's interested in Max
I think
Lord.
she's just
Unless she just
interested
wants
I think she
attention?
just wants to have human interaction, and nobody pays attention.
She'll
to
take
her.
it anyway because she
Yeah.
maybe she's like, oh, I'm not really supposed to feel this way anyway. So
Right.
maybe, you know, this guy is successful, showing attention to me.
Right. And then we get to the part of the movie that has caused quite a bit of stir.
Ah, yes, the Quantum Leap story.
That is never explained.
Never addressed.
Never explained.
Yeah, Steve comes
Steve
back.
Trevor comes back, but he can't just come back. He can't just like
Be back.
He could just show up. No.
No. It's got to be quantum leaped into a sexy other guy.
Yeah, like Wonder Woman goes to this gala thing because she's got to deal with Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig and all that crap that's going
Yep.
on. It's about the gemstone, right?
Mhm.
And when she's there's a guy who's like talking to her in a specific way, and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh crap,
It's you.
it's Steve Trevor."
And I remember being like, okay.
I'm like, "Wait, what?"
I did not think for a second it was going to quantum leap it. I thought it was that she was just, it's been so long that she like forgot what he looked like. And you know, like she, like her, it was, we were visualizing her disbelief that he was back. I was like, my brain was just trying to pin this together.
Yeah.
And then it was like, no, he is inhabiting the body of this other guy, and she sees him the way she is as a visual cue to hire Chris Pine to be in our movie again. And it's like, why did you do that? Like, I'm gonna throw away all the sexual overtones that everyone's complaining of. She's a rapist. Shut up. Have you ever seen Quantum Leap? I know you haven't, but like that show has like 9 seasons of that shit. He conceives a child with one of those people. Like, you want to like cancel bullshit? Like, knock yourself out. Just take everything that existed for the last 100 years and go deal with that. Like, get in line.
I would say,
Like,
regardless of
who
how
gives
you
a
feel
shit?
about that, the issue really is it doesn't make any sense and it's completely not needed.
That's the thing, is
because
that it's so stupid.
It's like, okay, so it's this monkey paws thing, and it's like, oh, the monkey paw for her is that he has to inhabit another person's body, and that's the quandary. You're taking one person's life and you're trading it for someone
right,
else.
but they don't address that.
But that's not what it is.
No!
Because it's like, originally when Kristen Wiig starts getting like confident and Diana's losing her powers, I was like, oh my gosh, she's sucking her powers
That's
away.
what you thought. She was siphoning her powers.
I was
It's like,
that's interesting. No, she's
No.
losing her powers because that's the trade-off for having Steve back. And I'm like, so then why is he in anyone's body?
right, then why is he why is he Sam Beckett? And it's like, for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's so and it's like, that's the problem. Like, if you want to start like going like, she's a rapist, like, dude, no. This movie is stupid, and it's not that impactful because they didn't even think about it. Like, it's so dumb. It's not worth the discussion.
Well, yeah, and like it fundamentally makes such little sense.
Exactly.
And then they just keep addressing it.
And they keep reminding you.
And I'm like, why?
To the point where she bumps into the real version of him at the end.
Yeah, and I
And it's like,
you're dealing with a universe where Wonder Woman is like an immortal being,
yes,
right? Who can use her lasso to swing on lightning. There is a magic wishing stone that becomes that
can become a person.
Like absorbs and becomes.
Right.
And we need to have Steve Trevor come back in the body of someone else.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
That's so dumb. It's like there was a different movie where that was the premise, and then they just like kept and they when they wrote over the script in the second draft, they like left that part in by accident.
Yeah.
Like, it is so dumb.
And it's not even like we do a thing where we the audience see the
other
normal guy.
Well, because we shouldn't, because it's Chris freaking Pine. I'm paying for Chris Pine.
Right, but it's like, as other outlets have brought up, like, if that person dies, like, Chris Pine already died.
Yeah, he's already dead.
But like this dude, it's like, oh, sorry, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh, this guy broke into like the Smithsonian stuff. He stole a child. Like, he stole a jet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, his fingerprints are on
Secret Service people.
Exactly. Like, no, he went to Egypt. Like, did they use his? No, they didn't use his passport. They used the stolen jet.
Yeah.
But like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's like
the implications alone are they don't make any sense.
It's weird when like magic gives you a more logical answer than what they decided to go with.
Exactly.
Like a different version. They're like, no, we gotta have some sort of tether. It's like,
no,
just use magic.
He comes back.
He comes back. Ta-da!
Yeah, he's back. And it's like confusing. You could play with that. Oh, he has no passport. He can't fly on a commercial airline.
Yeah.
He has no driver's license.
Right.
Like, he has no fingerprints. Like,
or the fingerprints he does have, they're like, you're a dead man.
You're dead. Like, yeah, like you're on file as a freaking like spy from 1918. Like, something like that. And it still plays with the bullshit you wanted to achieve. And that's my point about like why like don't even like it's like making fun of a clown. It's pulling apart the logic of Steve Trevor's like quantum leapism is like making fun of a clown. Where do you start? His floppy shoes, funny hat, like his dumb nose, like none of it makes any sense.
I think
so like the moral implications of like them sleeping together is the last thing to worry about.
I guess, but I think it's like for a lot of people, it's like the thing they can really point to when they're like, why doesn't this movie work? And it's like, because of decisions like this.
Because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Because it's like, it's just a bunch of ideas slapped together.
That's right. And no one is there's no continuity director who is trying to make it all work. There is no world building in this universe, despite all the world building that this universe has.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So that's a thing.
So that happens, and then like they go to Egypt to deal with
to have a fight scene.
To have a fight scene, and
after a long bunch of not that.
Yeah, this doesn't like they try to recreate that sensation of Diana going to London for the first time, entering our culture and like seeing the world for what it is, not being on an island of just warrior women and being like, okay, wait, what? Mm-hmm. And like they try to do all of that, but like in a really short,
in like 20 minutes,
way.
And it sucks.
Yeah, and it kind of just wastes our time.
Yep.
And they go to Egypt, where Steve is put in mortal danger, but he's fine, and like Diana's powers are waning.
And again, like it would have been really fun to see Steve like in his own body, just being like, I put myself at risk all the time. It's who I am. Like that would have been cute. I mean, it was. Yeah. Because you forget, because it doesn't matter. But, yeah.
But they, like, essentially fail in Egypt.
Yeah.
And then they go home. Well, they go home and they have to... Kristen Wiig has, been tasked with finding out more information about this, like, band that was around the rock.
Yes.
And, like, essentially that it's like, oh, this was, like, a doomsday for, like, most civilizations. It's why, like, the Mayans fell. And it's why all these catastrophic events happen. And, like, we need to figure out where this all came from. And I'm like, this is where we're getting to Cersei. Okay.
Right. No. We get the guy from Drag Me to Hell to show up and explain like the plot for no reason.
And we were talking about this, and this is where I pitched that, like, instead of having the cold open with them going to Themyscira.
Yes.
Right? What they should have done was, instead of having to go to this random dude who, like, I mean,
who we never see before or after.
Because, like the thought, like, of having, like, someone who's like, I'm actually a mind descent, like, it's kind of cool, and it's like, whatever, that's neat. I was like, this is where they go back to Themyscira, and they have, and like, Steve and Diana have to get back on the island,
and that would have been the story, right? You cut the whole Egypt scene,
right? And
you dropped the Themyscira scene,
and since I believe they were already like named one of the women in the first movie as Artemis,
yes,
you have her show up.
Right.
And she's like, get the hell off.
Yeah, so instead of Steve and Diana stealing a plane, or maybe they steal the plane, but they go to Themyscira instead.
Yeah.
And then they break in. And like you said, like they just, and that's the fun, like mid movie.
I'm not gonna lie,
sequence.
because we had done Greek gods before, I was like, when they had the band, I was like, they're gonna go talk to Hephaestus.
Yes. And
I was like, and they're gonna need someone to help get them there, which is why they're gonna go there. And I was like, and then none of that happens.
And they bring up the idea that like she's still like exiled, right? So like you have the scene where like Steve and Diana are talking about like how she's like, I have to break into the island. He's like, they still ban, like it's been 80 years and you're still not allowed on. She's like, yeah, I haven't spoken to my mother in 80 years. And it's like, cool. So then they steal the invisible jet. They go to Themyscira. They break on. They think it's going really well. You know, they bump into, or maybe I don't remember what was the idea that we had where it was like they go to Themyscira. They sneak on.
Yeah, it would be Artemis and it was someone else. I don't know
Nubia.
Yeah, Nubia.
So
Artemis and Nubia.
And they go into like, let's call it the room that she uses that like had the what's it called? The mother box from Justice League.
Sure.
Like, oh, cool. You know, because it would have still been there.
Yeah.
And like it's underneath or something, like a secret portal that like, you know, staircase that takes you into the underworld. And like Hephaestus is there, and he's like, "Oh, I remember making this." You know, and you get Andy Serkis to play this fucking character.
Sure.
And then when they get the information they need, and they go back up, and what was it?
But like that was like a way for us to have like more action, because it's like maybe, and like I was like, this could be a cool visual where it's like they're trying to get to Hephaestus, and like Hephaestus has this thing about like human armor, and so he's a collection of them, and they're all like enchanted, and like they fight.
They have to fight like,
but like they're empty armor. It doesn't matter, and so you get like, you know,
Wonder Woman
Nubia,
and
Artemis, and Wonder Woman fighting them,
Steve.
and Steve's like, and me too,
and me.
Oh, I'm so useless here.
Yeah, and that would have been great.
But then like you can even have Hippolyta show up and be like,
at the end,
you should have just
asked me. It's like I didn't think I was allowed back on.
Yeah, but like regardless, like none of that happened.
None of that happens.
It was never gonna happen.
No, instead,
well, hang on, we didn't talk about the invisible jet.
Yes, the invisible jet sucks and it's stupid and lazy. Did we even establish who her father was in the continuities of these movies yet?
I thought in the first one they might have, but
I
now
they subtly pointed it out.
Now I'm having a hard time remembering what I've read in comics and what I saw in the movie.
But I remember that they mentioned the Clay story in the movie, but I also remember them kind of trying to imply that was bullshit. But maybe that was just because the baggage of like Wonder Woman blood. And so then I'm thinking like, but did they ever actually say in any of the movies that her father is Zeus?
Well, I thought, wait, was this the movie where she took a little bit of everything from everybody? Was that?
No, that's fucking Dead Earth.
Oh yeah. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I was just like having a hard time.
Yeah, but like, did they say that? Because like, I don't think they did. Well, so then she's just like, my father taught me how to make things invisible.
No,
your father?
No,
what?
She didn't say she taught. She said my father made Themyscira invisible from the world. I've been trying to figure it out.
Right.
And there's a coffee cup.
Right.
And then she does it.
Right.
And it's just so like...
so lazy. It was just so lazy. Because again, you know what would be neat? Hey, when they go to Themyscira, they steal the jet. It's not invisible. When they leave, they're like, when we leave, we're going to lead people straight to you because of the radar. And Hippolyta uses some powers and makes the jet invisible. Or the gemsmiths of Themyscira, having been inspired by the like first appearance of Steve and his planes and shit from 1918, built their own invisible jet and they give it to her at the end.
But that would have required them to go to Themyscira, which was never a thing.
That's just a thing we made up.
That was never going to happen.
But like,
so that happened. It's more evidence of just lazy.
It's just lazy. It's just, hey, I read Wonder Woman comics or saw the show 45, 50 years ago. And so I remember this shit. So I got to have the invisible jet and I don't care how we get it.
Yeah.
But I know the audience will care enough to ask. So here's this.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Right.
It's just lazy. It's just, and that's what this movie is. And that's why I think people are so harsh on it. It's just lazy.
Well, yeah. And regardless of how you took the first movie, that movie has a beginning, middle, and end.
It's just cohesive. It just makes sense. It has a narrative through line and an arc for the character.
Yeah. And so when you get to this movie, it's lacking
so
all of that. So
it's like someone else made this movie.
Almost. But essentially, they find out that like the only way to defeat the Wish Rock is for everyone to give up their wishes or to destroy the rock.
We're just cutting ahead. I don't want to talk about any more of the bullshit.
Yeah, but you need to point that out because it's like your options are kill Max Lord.
Right.
If you had that sword,
Would have been very easy to do.
That sword.
But then you wouldn't have had a long speech that doesn't say anything at the end.
Right, or just give up everybody's wishes. And like, I think that's important to mention because of how not feasible that is.
Yes, because of or like you either.
And like and not just not feasible because of human nature, because the idea here is that she is supposed to be so inspiring, so hopeful,
that every
so
human being on the whole planet offers to give up their wishes.
However, there are a couple of wishes that you can't undo.
Right.
So anyway, regardless of that,
and we never cut when we cut to Cheetah when she could renounce her wish. We cut away before she renounces it, so that she can remain Cheetah later.
I thought she was.
She never says it.
I thought she just thought it.
No.
And like, I thought she wasn't a cheetah person anymore. She was just
she is still
pumped up Kristen Wiig.
We never see her. No, she's still a cheetah person. I think that they were like.
I didn't think she was.
I think this movie is so lazy that they were like,
well,
no, it's okay if one person doesn't.
I know they wanted
wish.
to leave her story open ended.
Yes.
I'm like.
Yeah, that's why we don't see her say it.
You don't even have to do that.
Yeah.
Because then listen, you screwed up this whole origin for her.
Right.
But if you let her go back to being herself, then she's like goes all in on archaeology.
Yes.
Because she's like, I miss that power.
Yeah,
she finds something that turns her into a cheetah person.
Yeah, and she's young and like strong again.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking 40 years later. Like, yeah, that would have been great. Well, and maybe they'll do that, except probably not, because one of the few things people are like, this movie sucks, and one of the worst things about it is that cheetah person.
Right.
In that muddy, horrible CG fight that's like only 5 minutes, but it feels like the longest 5 minutes ever, because it's like, you shot day for night on that scene for no reason, and like you covered it all up.
Okay, people are saying she was a person.
She was a person?
But she was in her crazy outfit.
Okay.
Remember, like, she got the big hair, and she's got, like, the ruffly skirt. She's totally a person.
She's still a person?
The question is whether or not she still has that strength.
Right.
Because she might have just given up the Apex Predator wish.
Because she got 2 wishes.
She got 2 wishes. She cheated.
Well, she's a cheetah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I didn't commit every aspect of this shitty movie to my brain.
Listen, we just said
I thought she was still a cheetah. But yeah. But no, so okay. All right. But yeah, okay, even better. That good. Leave it that way.
So listen, we gotta get satellites. It's the 80s. We gotta deal with satellites and nukes and Russia and
and we're gonna make
Saudi Arabia.
We're gonna set it in 84, use real world politics, but not cast a guy as Reagan. Like this is the same studio that cast the guy as Nixon.
Yeah, but
it's like, I get it. Like, maybe you want to avoid that, but it's like, it's 84. You can't pick and choose random shit that was important or mattered in 84, especially when one of your set pieces is the Oval fucking Office.
I know. So we got to do all that. It's super 80s. I that's like that kind of like schlocky, like it's Bond. It's whatever. Fine. Whatever. Max Lure's gonna go on camera and he's gonna get people's.
You can get it all. You can have it all.
People's wishes so that he can fix himself. And keep his own wishes and screw over the world, thus destroying the world, because now he's doing it to everyone. And they gotta stop him, right? But like Kristen Wiig doesn't want to give up her
wishes,
her first wish, and so like she signs up with him, and then he makes her into a cheetah person. He makes
turns her.
She said, "I want to be an apex predator."
Right.
And I know when I think of apex predators, the first one I think of is the cheetah.
Well, no, because she liked the shoes that Wonder Woman was wearing in the beginning of the movie.
But
and
but he did that.
Yes. Well, he just used what was inside of her.
No, because when he's up on the podium, he's like, I'll take this and that and give it to her. And like, so he's picking and choosing, like, I'll take this from you and this from you and get like, so did a cheetah?
Right. Was a cheetah making wishes?
I don't know how that works.
I don't know
how that works, but I gotta tell you, the cheetah is never my number one apex predator.
It's not.
I think
it's not. They're fast.
They're fast, and they are predators, but they're also usually stolen from by other animals.
Yes, they are not apex predators, even in their own environment.
I think they technically count.
Maybe they count within the spectrum, but like, there are stronger predators.
Yeah.
Within their own ecosystem.
Yeah.
Whatever. So she lassos Max and makes him say the thing that she was saying.
Sure, but first she has a big fight with Cheetah as...
Oh, in her golden armor that doesn't matter.
So the golden armor, I did not foresee who that was wearing it.
No, me
at all. I was like, this is so bizarre.
Yeah.
And like the golden armor is there, and they made such a big deal about it for the cover. And it like
they made a toy of it, like before the movie came out.
Like it's the image you see for a lot of things because it's striking. And you know
because Alex Ross is a really good designer, and it came from Kingdom Come, and it's really cool.
Kingdom Come, if you're a comic book fan, and it's in the movie for like maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. Steve Trevor looks at it for a second. He's like, "What's this?" She's like, "I'm going to wear it in the third act."
Yeah, and then she does, and then she knocks the wings off
immediately.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. She also like renounces her wish.
Yeah.
And Steve Trevor.
That was so weird. She like kisses him and then runs away from him. I get it. It's sad. She doesn't want to look at him.
Yeah. Well,
But,
she
like-
didn't look at him last time either when he died.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to see him turn back into the
Into the other guy. Okay.
No, I'm just
It's
kidding.
just so weird.
I
Like,
don't want to feel bad about what I've been doing here, so I'm gonna leave.
I'm just gonna leave.
I'm gonna leave, and then later I'll hit on you.
Yeah. Did you know that's a Hallmark movie actor?
That looks like a Hallmark movie actor.
Yeah, they
and I
wanted a
don't
guy
watch,
who looked like that.
I don't watch Hallmark movies,
No.
but like you said that, I'm like, yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's why they like it's like they said it at Christmas, and it's like so they were shooting a Hallmark movie, and they asked Gal Gadot to come on, and like
Yeah.
they shot their scene there. Like, was that what happened? Because it looks like a Hallmark movie in that scene.
Yeah.
That's jumping ahead. But
So-
anyway, so she can fly. She learns how to fly because
So
Steve
instead
taught
of
her
fly,
how.
and then she
Yay.
shows up in the armor, and then she have a big CG fight.
Yep. It's not the worst CG fight I've ever seen.
It's not. It's just Cheetah does not look great. Like I kind of dug her. Like I knew she was gonna become a cat person. We all knew that. We all saw
We saw the
images
toys.
of it. But like she was not. It was not a strong look in that film,
Oh,
and they
no.
clearly dialed down the lighting on it to try to hide a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep.
And like it's just unfortunate.
Yep.
Because this is supposed to be one of Wonder Woman's like main.
She's the main villain.
antagonist. Yeah.
You know, they could have saved
That
some money.
isn't a Greek god.
Right. You know, it's actually they could have saved a lot of money if they didn't shoot the Themyscira scene that no one wanted in the first place.
Oh, absolutely.
Because taken all the money from that, just put it
And
into Cheetah.
put it into Cheetah.
It's not like they have never made animal-human characters in CG
Right.
before.
Right. And for a second I thought she killed Cheetah, but then she doesn't.
No.
And then-
Yeah, I thought so too. Because she's like, I'm so sorry, and she's like, I'm sorry I hurt you
I'm sorry,
momentarily. Because I was really like, oh, she's gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Really? I was like so disappointed. 'Cause I'm like, oh my god, all
They're
we can do
gonna
is kill the villains.
Yeah, don't
but then
do
they
that.
don't.
Then they don't. But it's like that
But-
lead up to it made you think that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then she has to face off Maxwell Lord, and like it's super powerful, and he jumps in a big beam of light. And
Which. Why is there a beam of light? Because Hollywood loves beams of light in superhero
beams
movies.
of light mean it's trouble.
Yeah.
You see a beam of light, people.
Big blue lights.
Get away from it.
Yep.
It's never good.
No, it's either Independence Day zapping you, or it's
Never
it's gonna
good.
turn everybody into lizards.
Right? Yeah. But she uses her lasso and talks through him to the people of the world so that they give up their wishes, and they all do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also realizes like where he went wrong and has like a midlife crisis of a moment, and realizes that like he's trying to be something that he doesn't need to be.
Yep.
He can still be successful and find success without having to go down the path that like is like the like rules of how to be a business guy. Like he doesn't have to do that. And like again, there's something interesting there, but it's not really developed, and it just happens.
And it's weird because it's like selectively like treating us like people, like adults, where it's like, you know, I don't need a scene where he's like, I'm whatever my race is, I'm proud. You know, like we don't need that. Like we get it, but like, why are you so ham-fisted with like literally everything else?
Right, and like he comes from like a broken home,
Yeah.
and like it's like this was stuff that could have been kind of told to us throughout the film.
What did we see that was that exact thing? Was it that? Yeah, it was that show on Amazon about whether she's like schizophrenic. Or
Oh yeah.
where her like boyfriend is Indian, and all the white kids make fun of him, and so he like
Holy
trains himself into
yes,
not being
what the
like.
hell's the name of that show? It's that show, everybody. It's like rotoscoped.
Yeah.
entirely-
Oh yeah. You know this show.
They might know this show. It was on Amazon. It's like it's gonna bother me. Los Alamos. Undone. That's what it is. I was watching that. I pulled you in on that one too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah, no, it is. But like, at least with that one, it's like told differently, and like.
Oh, it's effective.
It is, but like, I mean, like that's a sad and powerful story.
Yes.
Like giving up on like where one comes from just because you think you need to fit into something that is like that is shoved in your face, but like is like you need to make not the reality. And I know it's not hard. I know it's hard, and it's not an easy thing to do. But it's like,
Especially in your weirdo
but
superhero
like,
movie.
don't just like, I don't know.
Don't just throw that in because you think it's deep.
But regardless, so like she wins the day by using her words and her love and her truth and
Yes,
and
truth,
all that.
love, that's what she's all about.
So here's where I have an issue.
And not swords.
Here's where I have an issue.
Mhm.
Like this was my biggest issue
Yes.
in the movie.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Among all the issues I had with the
Yes,
movie.
yes.
We're watching this movie, and I'm like, so wait, everyone's got to renounce their wishes. Coffee guy can't renounce his wish. He's gonna throw it back on.
Oh no,
And
my coffee.
And we see a scene in England somewhere.
Yes.
Where there is an English shopkeep, and she's talking to an Irish customer, and they're having it out, and like that was like kind of like that was interesting. I was like, hey, we're looking at like other like world issues.
Yeah.
Like, cool. But like her thing is like she wishes all the Irish would get out of England.
Right.
And like so obviously that's going to happen.
Like a paddy wagon shows
and
up for
he
them.
wishes she dropped dead.
Yeah.
So all the Irish are being carted away. That woman is dead.
Right.
She missed all of Wonder Woman's speech.
Yeah, she did not get to renounce her wish.
She didn't hear any of it.
Right. So
he
the Irish
renounces his.
Yeah.
So she gonna wake up.
Yeah, but the Irish are still being kicked out of England.
Like, I'm like, wait, what?
Well, it's just the internal logic of the movie is entirely flawed.
I know.
And so again, like it's the problem. That's like the problem. Where it's why I didn't like itemize all my issues with the movie, because like it all coalesces into it's very lazy and they didn't think it through for no reason. And I'm like, I don't understand why this is such a prevalent and consistent problem with these movies.
Well,
and all for me stems to Hollywood doesn't care about these movies at all. They're just like, I need to make my $100 million. I need to make my $1 billion.
Well, for me, it's also frustrating because it's like they're dealing with a magical component which really should make it easy. And yet somehow they like whizzed it.
Right.
Like, and like I'm
you just need, magic is just that. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like you just had to be more selective in the wishes you showed, and then we'd all make fun of like it's like, oh, well, obviously someone must have wished for blah, or someone must have wished for blah, but we didn't see it.
Nope.
But it's like you literally killed someone, and then like that person doesn't get to undo that wish.
Yeah. Yep.
They're gonna come back to life, sure, but they don't know what's happening.
They don't know what happened, or like someone's like, hey, I'm glad you're back, but listen, you need to unmake your wish.
There's a lady talking through a lasso.
Yeah. Well, they don't see her. They just like the guy who yelled at all of us to get our wishes. That he told us we need to make them go away.
Yeah,
again.
never mind. It's fine.
So that happened, and then and then it ends. Oh, and she learns a lesson at the end too, where she's like, maybe I can bang other guys.
Yeah, I guess.
Because like the whole thing is,
I guess that was her character arc.
That was her character arc. She's like, I will be. I loved a guy for like what a couple of months.
Yep.
Or weeks. He died, and I never.
God, I didn't get over it.
For 80 years.
I don't know how to make friends.
Yes, I don't know how to make friends.
And well, she
does.
I
still didn't make friends.
She tried.
She's very good at it, but she's not very good at. She's good at making the friends. She's not very good at holding.
She can't keep the friends.
And really, that's the most important.
And she
part.
learned how to fly.
She learned how to fly.
And make invisible stuff.
Well, yeah. Does she keep that jet? Does she
By
put
the way,
it back?
Why didn't she use that when she was fighting?
Yeah, why didn't she make herself invisible? Or make Cheetah invisible?
Or make Max invisible?
Or make everything invisible? Because she's really good at it. She tries like for like a half second and it works perfectly. Yeah, that's the internal logic of the movie is just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then we got a Starsky and Hutch movie post-credit scene that like if you're in your 50s, you must have loved.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, listen, let me turn in my comic book fan card. I didn't like the Wonder Woman show. Maybe I was too freaking young. I caught it in like tapes and reruns. But like I wasn't, I didn't like the Incredible Hulk show either. I didn't like shows from the 70s.
That's fair.
And I appreciate, like, I liked Linda Carter's cameo in Super Troopers more than this. Because she's a character in those movies. But like, that scene is like her post-credit scene is like so obvious and like it's the kind of scene that you get from a movie. Like, that's the kind of sequence you get from like The Phantom or like The Rocketeer. Like, and even The Rocketeer is a better movie than this.
Yes.
Where it's like a movie about a comic book from forever ago. Like you need people expect a little bit more subtlety at this point. Like if you made Linda Carter that character whose name escapes me in the golden armor.
Holy crap, I can't remember what it was at all.
Yeah. But she's in the armor in that scene and it's like, okay, if that was her, there you go. But then to have her like say like stop a telephone pole or whatever from landing on a baby in America, and she's wearing like her ceremonial freaking robes.
She's wearing a blue poncho.
She looks like she's in costume.
Fashion poncho.
And she's like, I've been doing this for a long time. She looks dead in the camera and like winks at you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And for a second I was like, that's kind of cute. And then I'm like, that's stupid. That's as stupid as everything else in this movie.
Well, again, and I'm trying not to judge those types of things because there's a part of it that's dealing with my own disappointment of it not doing the thing I wanted. And I'm like, and that's not fair because it's like,
all right, you know what? You want to put, and listen, it's weird she's not in the first movie. Like
Asteria.
Because like Linda Carter is as
an A something. I kept coming with Astrid and I was like, that's the female dragon like movie. Keep going. How to Train Your Dragon. It's the girl.
Yes.
She's one of the girls.
She's more Wonder Woman than this character.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like I don't know. Like listen, that's like the least egregious thing that happens in this movie, and it felt really dumb. I was like, oh, okay, that's it.
It's just like
I thought they were gonna set up Cersei or something cool.
I thought that too, but that again, like that's why I'm trying not to like
judge it too harshly.
Judge it against that because
that's what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking, and so when that didn't happen, I was like, oh, but I'm like, that's not fair.
No.
That's not the reason to not like something.
And like,
you know
what? She's a working actor. She's a fun character. Linda Carter is like 90% why anyone in the world knows who Wonder Woman is, like because the show was so influential.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't like it, but I appreciate its pop culture impact. You know, I get it. Just because Adam West was never in any other Batman movie except for the animated series, but arguably the best cameo that could possibly have occurred.
It was, yeah, he's awesome.
But that's the thing, though, is that Adam West plays the Grey Ghost, and they're like, he's an actor, give him a real freaking thing to do. That's really awesome. But you know, so Wonder Woman 84. Closing thoughts.
I really liked the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
Like I really like responded to it. Like turns out I like swords. I'm not saying she should. Oh my gosh, we didn't talk about one thing that really bothered me.
Oh
in
please,
this movie.
well, yeah,
really fundamentally bothered me.
Oh, was it the
the soundtrack?
Oh,
or the score.
Oh.
The score for this film really bothered me because I love the Wonder Woman like theme done on electric cello.
Yes.
I think that that's dope.
Everyone loves it. It's why it's in 2 or 3 movies.
I didn't know the electric cello even existed
before you heard the theme.
Well, actually, yeah, I think it was that, or because of
Tina Guo.
Tina Guo, who is actually the inspiration for that theme and actually plays it in this, like. Because she's friends with, is it Horner who does this?
Yeah.
Or is it Zimmerman?
No, Hans Zimmerman, I think, did the music for this.
But, like, she knows them, and, like, they were having a hard time writing that, and, like, he thought of her, and he wrote it. Mm-hmm. Not that she's Wonder Woman necessarily, but, like, he's like, oh, electric cello, bam, there it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's dope.
That's dope.
That's dope.
Yep.
But, like, it was severely lacking in this film, and I get it. I mean, it definitely fit the tone of the first movie.
Yeah.
But I think it could have fit the tone for this movie, and it's not used appropriately. Like, it's used a couple of times, but like not in the spots I thought it should have been used personally. And like honestly, like when she arrives in the armor and like she comes out of the sky,
that's the time to play
I thought they play it when she lands and she starts fighting. I'm like, I thought it was gonna be like a Flight of the Valkyries thing. Like she comes out of the sky and it'd be like
you could also just play Flight of the Valkyries, which would have been kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Or a version of it on electric cello.
But like I'm not usually the person who listens to I listen to scores and I like them afterwards, but like I am not. I don't.
You don't notice them as they're happening.
I don't have an ear for music
unless it's Duel of the Fates. You're like, whoa.
But like that, I don't have that ear. But like I really like thought that like I again like the electric cello. I was like, that's so cool. I'm so not musical. I don't know anything. But like her theme is so strong, and then to have it be completely for me absent from this, it's not technically.
No, it does happen in the movie. It
does happen, but like. To have it not really be
center stage, it should have been like a moment. It
really I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and there are so few of them where she is like Wonder Woman doing something. Like, when do you do it? You don't do it during the Themyscira scene. You never do it during the mall scene. You can't really stick it into the Egypt chase scene.
Yeah,
you really like shouldn't do it in the scene where she's like giving her speech to Max Lord. And the only time to put it in there is when she arrives to fight Cheetah.
Yeah, but instead they wait till she lands and she fights Cheetah. I'm like, you could have played it the whole time.
Yes.
It could have
when she's flying, but instead we're supposed to feel a swell of like, you know, sadness and relief.
Yeah. So like that was like, I was really disappointed with that.
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. It's unfortunate that like, in many ways, I think that this movie coming out on streaming actually may have saved it because we don't have a box office for it.
Yeah.
You know? Although I did hear
100 million clicks.
yeah, wow, how do you quantify that? The best part is you can't, and you don't have to release your numbers. So you can just be like, it was an unmitigated success.
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Run
Prove
away.
it. I won't. And I don't have to.
Well, I mean, apparently, as we stated before, and like it wasn't part of my family tradition, but it can be family tradition
Seeing
around the
movies on
holidays
Christmas, yeah.
or like around that time period. And so like that's a thing for people. And if you can't go anywhere,
That's what you do.
then maybe you are gonna like
Sign up for HBO Max.
even just for like the month or whatever, just to have access to that.
Yeah, because you were not allowed to watch it if you were a like trial member.
There you go. Well, that's actually pretty smart.
Oh yeah, it's better than charging $30
for sure.
But yeah, it was the scene. Yeah, it was just a rough go. It wasn't like the worst comic book movie I've ever seen. It wasn't a worthy successor of the first Wonder Woman movie. It wasn't even a worthy outing for Wonder Woman. Like when you make Wonder Woman movies, you gotta like really make sure you get that shit on lockdown. Like you can crap out any Spider-Man movie, and like most people, you're gonna based on the rumors of Spider-Man 3, you were gonna find a verbal majority of people who love that version.
Yeah, they're it's somehow more forgivable because I guess there's more of them.
Because there's more of it, or there's just more people who like it. Wonder Woman, you got to get right every time.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Even if most of the movie stayed as it was, if the movie had been edited tighter or the pacing had been better, the pacing is so all over the place.
The Themyscira scene is so differently edited than any other scene in the movie.
Which is really funny because I read something where she was talking about the strength of pacings like Indiana Jones, like Raiders, and like Last Crusade. And I was like, those movies are like, she's like, they're so well paced.
Yes,
and like,
they are.
She's talking about that, and I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
It's like this is like they put out the wrong version.
Right. Yeah. They may have.
No, she says according to her, there's like maybe only one scene that got cut.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's lame. Because
like,
how dare you compare that to Raiders? Raiders, like
I don't think she's comparing.
I'm saying
it's inspo for her.
Well, don't do that because like people are going to compare it, and like the first three, like Spielberg, especially in the 80s, like really prided himself on editing. And like he really had that, like the editing on all three of those movies, Temple of Doom notwithstanding, they're all tight. Like the editing is spot on. You can watch Crusade. I did, like when I was like a lonely college freshman and had no friends and nothing to do, I watched Last Crusade like every weekend. Mm-hmm. And like I found something new every time, and it was like not a long commitment to make. It was just, those movies are tight. This movie is not.
No.
This movie's loose.
Not.
This movie's like a pair of Jinkos. Like it is around the ass of this entire franchise. It is rough. It is too loose. Tighten that up a bit. I actually welcome the fan edits of this movie.
Sure.
Because like you could cut out most of the Quantum Leap bullshit. You could probably cut it down to nothing.
Yeah. I know people, like someone just mentioned something about director's cut. I think she's like, there is no need for a director's cut. Everything I wanted is in there.
There needs to be a fan cut.
Yeah, no,
because this director wrote this movie, so she loves this picture, and we don't. So I'd love to see a movie that's like, let's see a 90-minute cut of Wonder Woman, maybe like an 77-minute long cut of Wonder Woman. Yeah. I think you would probably get it down. You could get it down to 60 minutes if you really want to make it tight. Just cut out all the Steve Trevor stuff. But like, you could, the first two opening, like if you trim up the mall scene, because like it's fun. If you cut out both scenes, Wonder Woman doesn't show up for an hour. So like, you got to have that mall scene.
Yeah.
Just cut it down. Just trim it down a little bit.
No, it's you're right. Absolutely.
And it's too bad.
That's really what it is. That's what it feels like to me. Like that's kind of like my like feeling.
How is Shazam so good compared to all these fucking movies?
Because it's tight.
It's tight.
Because it's tight, and
it's not great, but it's not bad.
But you could definitely feel the effect of Shazam on this film.
Yeah.
And like that's not necessarily wrong. But it feels
it's not the right tone.
It feels like it was too late in the process to do it. Maybe I don't know. Like it's just like like I said, it just feels like a hodgepodge of ideas.
Yep.
Just put together, and then they tried to make it work from beginning to end.
Yeah. And it doesn't.
No, and it really doesn't set up anything for her for the future. It doesn't really set up any...
It doesn't drum up excitement for anybody. Like no one's like hyped for Wonder Woman 3.
You didn't set up any like future characters. You didn't set up any future plot lines. Nope. It's just kind of like, and there we have it.
She's a blank slate. Like, yeah, you could literally end her franchise with this. which is a real problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could never do another Wonder Woman movie, and no one would be like, "Oh, it's too bad."
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just, or you could reboot it. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying like it's that far gone.
Yeah, it was just like, woof.
Yeah, woof. As Devil's Advocate Productions, HNY.
Oh, it just went away.
Oh no. HNY. Happy New Year. Doomsday Clock was awesome. Please do 52 one day. By the way, stick around. We're going to be doing recommendations of books that come out this week we think you should pick up.
Yeah.
So, Rab L, hey guys, hope 2021 treats you well and you keep going with what you do. P.S. had no idea back issues were up early on Patreon. They are. Yeah, you can watch back issues a week early, at least for the next 2 weeks. Who knows what's going to happen after that? But hang in there. Jeremy Moore, congrats on 90K. You've rekindled my love of comics that I lost when I moved out of Parsippany. Here's to many more years of your show. Thank you, Jeremy. Hey, local boy. Algie Try, I always forget what I want to say when your show is live, so take some money. ComicPOP, hell yeah. Hell yeah to you too, Algie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We Being Geeky, have you read Marvel action thrillers? Doctor Strange is in it. I'm reading it for Ironheart, but it seems like a tag team book.
I think I saw the cover for that coming up. Maybe, I don't know.
Yep, I've never read it.
I have not either.
Alex Cash, I enjoyed Wonder Woman 84, but I understand everyone's criticism. I loved Wonder Woman Dead Earth, however. Bought the hardcover on your recommendation, and it was super worth it.
Nice.
I agree. Thank you very much.
Nice.
So did I. Raj Patel, hey guys, just caught the stream, so I wanted to ask, should Lord have grabbed a loyal subordinate and asked, do you truly wish for my enemies to fall so I may succeed? Boom, movie over. It's one of my biggest issues of the movie, logic.
Right.
Yeah, it's just the logic is off.
Yeah.
Jeremy Moore, thank you very much for more support. We do appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Masterance. Cheetah's theme in the movie was so good, in my opinion. It made me so upset how bad the Wonder Woman theme always has been, though they're trying to make it iconic.
Oh, see, I'm not.
It's the other way. It's the
I
other
can't.
way around.
I can't agree with you on that. Tell you what, go look up Tina Guo and watch her play that theme. Tell me, trust me on this one.
Yeah. Justin Guy with a mustache, 90K strong. Let's go, population. Thank you very much,
Let's
Justin
go.
Guy. Super Pooper, my theory was that Gem was Eclipso Diamond. Really wish that was the case. Would have been great. What a waste. Another disappointment.
That's great.
Would have been okay with that. You know, the moon. Yeah.
Love it.
Ron6754. Hey, ComicPOP, I've been a fan of your show for years. What did you guys like and dislike most from Wonder Woman 84? Well, hopefully you watched the show and found out.
Yeah.
Death and Sanity, what are your thoughts on Spider-Man? I love the character, my favorite superhero, and I enjoy most of his movies. Jeremy Moore, Wonder Woman 84, agree with Tiffany on using Cersei, having Wonder Woman exploring ruins, maybe on Crete. Wonder Woman could have encountered a Minotaur.
Yes.
Or the Kithator.
That'd be fine with me.
Or, yeah, that would have been cool. Again,
so okay
returning to Themyscira is the way to go.
Yeah.
We Being Geeky, do y'all think Jessica Jones and Man of Steel neck snap affected this movie? Also, do you think this Wonder Woman is too nice? Is she not a believable warrior? No, I don't think that the neck snap affected the movie. No, I don't think so. I think that I think that writing affected this movie more than anything else.
I think so too, and I think it's almost like she just wanted to try something different.
Yep.
And like that was what it didn't really work. Honestly, if more of this movie had taken place on Themyscira, it would have made more sense in terms of the timeline for her. I know they're not really focused on that right now, but then it would make more sense as to why nobody references anything that happens from this film in the future.
Yeah.
So, because it's like, well, nobody knew if it happened on Themyscira. What happens on Themyscira
stays there.
It stays on Themyscira.
We Being Geeky, did Bruce Wayne wish his parents back and then unwish them? No. Yeah, man. I mean, well, unless it's Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne, in which case he wasn't born yet. So, just for Me Too, they said that his father was Zeus and Ares was her half brother, therefore she's a god also.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why she has like powers.
Right. Yeah. Drew Torres, make Batman vehicles invisible to fight Steppenwolf. Yeah. Why didn't she do that? Because they didn't think of it. Valentino G, Wonder Woman 84 was so disappointing, even boring. Pacing was off. Should have been more Indiana Jonesy. Worked for Aquaman. Best for the new year, y'all. Thank you very much, Valentino.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the problem is with Aquaman being like Indiana Jones is that like it's barely like that. We just got a scene where they're in the desert and they like put together a thing. It's more like National Treasure or.
Well, the Indiana Jones I think comes into the like glow popping.
Yes,
and they do that quite a bit.
Yes, they do.
Even if like they go like in the ocean, you know what I mean. That technically counts as that. There's a lot of locales.
That's
so
true.
I definitely get that.
Yeah.
Like.
No, I get that
analysis.
feeling.
Yeah, I see why people might associate it.
Green Man cartoons. Why not have Wonder Woman fight a magic villain? She has a unique access to a whole load of stuff that other DCs don't.
Yep.
Lean into that.
I'm so on board for that. But it's like they did a half measure with a wishing stone that a person becomes. And it's like, just go all in.
Yeah, just
go
do that.
all in.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that. Truffles Gaming, I was genuinely hyped for this movie because I loved the first one, even though I had minor criticisms of the movie and suffered from sequel movie syndrome.
Yeah. No, it did. And again, like, I think even if the story wasn't super strong like it wasn't, like, if it had been tighter, I think we would have been way more forgiving of a lot issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy Moore, since Wonder Woman did Crisis on Infinite Earths, since Warner Brothers did Crisis, does this mean the DCEU will do Infinite Crisis? No, they're not going to do any more crises. Like, they might reference it, or it might be like a Flashpoint Crisis, but like, we're not going to do Infinite Crisis. James says, hey guys, are there any comic book arcs you would like to see on the big screen for any of your favorite characters? Plenty, but there's too many to name at this point. But thank you for your support. I'd love to see any number of Spider-Man stories that make sense and are grounded. Kraven's Last Hunt could be easily adapted. Just New Mutants, where it's like shorter, trimmed, and more streamlined for the character. Death and Sanity, I meant the comic last week, also the costume.
He meant Spider-Man. Because he said, what do you think? How'd you feel about Spider-Man?
Oh, it's cool. I like it. I enjoy this series now. But I will say that this whole run, like this whole arc, has felt like an annual that's been stretched over 5 issues. Like, the last 3 issues, I'm like, you really are stretching it, guys. Carlos Johnson, I liked Wonder Woman 84, but I think it was targeted towards children and older casual fans. The commercials prepped me for the light tone. Happy New Year. Very possibly.
Oh, I knew there was going to be a light tone. And, like, I personally preferred the, like, World War One, but that tone fit for that world.
Totally.
You're in, like, a grim, gritty England. You're in World War One.
Yep.
That worked 100%.
Totally.
So, like, shifting over, fine. Like, that's not a big deal. It really just comes down to, like, how not put together the story is. And how not put together the pacing is. So, like, tone-wise, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. The Nihilist, Wonder Woman 84 is the modern day Superman 3. I'd say it's more like the Superman 4.
Is that the question?
Yeah, the Nuclear Man,
or whatever.
Yep. It was the worst one.
Do you know who the new Spider-Man costume looks like to me?
Yeah. Wow. Huh.
I've been trying to I was like, am I right about that? I wanted to look it up.
Yeah, he looks like Quantum from Quantum and Woody.
Yeah, that's like what he reminds me of.
Yeah, that's really weird.
For some reason. I mean, he doesn't have this is more yellow, but that's immediately what it made me think of.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, it doesn't say Spider-Man, I'll tell you that. Yeah, so let's jump into some books that we recommend that we think you should pick up. Tiffany, go take it away.
Oh, okay. I only pulled a couple of things this week. There's a lot coming out, but I figured the show was going to be long, so I just wanted to do a quick little sample of some stuff that I'll be picking up. I'll be picking up more, but it's just these for right now. Hellions number 8 will be coming out. I'm like addicted to finding out about Sinister's ridiculous plot to do whatever. I'm not even going to call it circuitous schemes because it's Sinister.
Yeah.
And he doesn't deserve that. But I will be picking up Hellions number 8. Eternals number 1 is coming out, written by Kieran Gillen with art by Asad Ribic, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what Kieran Gillen does with this.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to pick this up.
Did you see how many pages this first issue is?
No, I didn't.
44.
44 pages. Ooh, okay. Also, a bunch of Future State books are coming out, so be on the lookout for those. I'm going to tell you at least one that I'm going to be picking up, which is Swamp Thing. Obviously, that's not really a surprise, guys.
No.
It's written by Ram B, with art by Mike Perkins. So those are some of the things I'll be picking up this week.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll be getting Amazing Spider-Man 56. I think this is the conclusion of this run, which feels really weird and anticlimactic. Dark Knight's Death Metal number 7 is the last issue of this series. It is over. This is it. Tomorrow, it'll be over. And then immediately, within the same day, ushering in the Future State, which will include Future State, the next Batman number 1, which I'm also recommending only because I'm going to be reading it. Wonder Woman Future State. There's a number of other Future States. Future State.
Back up to the... Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought the border around hers was more Art Nouveau. It's not.
No, it's just the Future State aesthetic. Future State Superman of Metropolis I'm going to pick up. I saw that Symbiote Spider-Man King in Black number 3 is coming out, but I'm not going to be reading it. Future State Harley Quinn number 1 we're going to read. Flash I'm going to read. Generation Shattered also starts, which has nothing to do with either of those things. I've been reading that.
You didn't say you're going to read Swamp Thing.
I did not say I'm going to read Swamp Thing. You're going to read Swamp Thing. You go ahead and read Swamp Thing. And I think that is it. So those are the recommendations we have for this week. I'm going to be checking those out. We'll be talking about those hopefully next week.
Oh, yeah.
What's the matter?
Oh, just Death Metal's ending.
Yeah, Death Metal's over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Neat.
Hell of an era. But yeah, listen, we will see you guys next week. But before we go, if you want to check out some interesting books from Inside Editions, you should click the link in the chat or in the description below this video. You can get some swell-ass books like these. You can save 35% by using POP35 in checkout, or just click the link and it'll do it automatically. Save you some time. Look at how much bigger that Spider-Man book is to this. This book's already big.
Well, they guess make them different, like...
Yeah, they make them different sizes.
Yeah, whatever.
Depending on what you, like...
Well, they've got the coffee table size. They've got, like, again, like, the books I have that have recipes in them, so, like, the Overwatch
those are,
one,
like, a little smaller than this.
They're definitely smaller than that. They fit on a shelf.
They do. This one fits on a big shelf, and that one fits on an even bigger shelf. But yeah, they're meant for display and also for enjoyment. There's a lot of really fun stuff in here, so check those out. From Inside Editions, a really, really solid publisher. Again, if we ever get sponsors like we have on this show today, they're only from people that whose services I actually patronize and I would actually buy. So here they are. Check them out. What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. Someone just mentioned that something else was coming out. I didn't see it in the list, though.
But yeah, from there, I want to thank everyone from our super chats on down to everybody who's watching the show. We really, really appreciate it. We're really looking forward to everything that's coming out in 2021, and we're really looking forward to giving you what we are going to be making here at Comic Pop for the next year and beyond. So thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for everything, and thank you for supporting us. And we will see you guys next week with an all-new episode. Of course, if you want more, check us out tomorrow. Elseworlds Exchange, Wednesday back issues. Letters page was cut and out. It's up on Patreon right now if you want to check us out at patreon.com/comicpop. And if you want even more, if you can't handle it, and you need more, twitch.tv/comicpop. Follow to watch Tiffany play video games, usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's a lot of fun. I should check those out as well. So twitch.tv/comicpop. Follow over there, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody.
Bye, guys.